exciting. I don't know when I'm gonna play today actually, so give me 1 second. Um, something, something. That's peaking too much. Okay, that should be fine. Yeah, it's me. It's me, Mario. Mario. It's your boy Mario. I'm here to do do some stuff. I kind of want to play. I want to try Battlefront again. We'll do some stuff. We'll do some stuff, right? Hopefully it doesn't crash. Give me 1 second. It's so annoying. After like Cyberpunk, I just kind of dove into the whole synth wave. So good. I don't know. Oh, I have Rogue Squadron, the first one. I can play that one. Oh no, I'm scared that it's gonna be so loud. There we go. It's a go. Okay. I went. Hey man. No, dock it. I said dock. Whatever. Alright, let's see how this goes. It's so loud. I think it's okay. Are you kidding me? Oh, you're so annoying. exit here, maybe. No. Why do you hurt me this way? Why? Why? That's so annoying. One moment. Alright, whatever. It works. It works. That's all that matters, right? Ugh. Where do I want to go? It's sad because no one's playing this anymore. What is that? What? Please don't do this.
The Republic is in control of a command post.
I think we're okay. We're okay. Did I click spectate? No. See how bad this goes. Where y'all at? I am aimbot. Ha 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 ha.
Reinforcements are being depleted.
I think it's going good. Hey man, get over here, man.
The Confederacy is in control of a command post.
Ah! Touche. Reporting a player. Don't report me. I mean, sorry, brother. I didn't mean to kill you. I'm just doing my job. Grenade! Yeah! Y'all saw that. It's on video forever and ever. Ugh. I'm sorry, just squeezing. That's pretty good. I wish they'd given the Magna Guard the staffs. That would have been cool. Stupid. So hard to get these boys. I don't like his weapon. Tri-shot. Wait, I have a tri-shot. Thank you. Even easier to miss them with. You panicked. And your weaknesses cost the life of 3 others. It's unlimited though. Oh my word. Oh, bro, I got you in the head, no? Oh my stars and others. I just wanted to square off with you. A garnade. A garnade. Actually, let's see. That should be better, right? Mm-hmm. Oh my word.
Reinforcements are being depleted. The command post is under Confederate
That was my kill, bro.
control of the command post. The Confederacy is in control of another command post.
Slander.
The Confederacy is in control of another command post.
How do I zoom in? Literally Z. You idiot.
The command post is no longer under Confederacy control.
Move! What? Can I? There we go.
The Confederacy is in control of another command post.
Headshot. I'm being really stupid, actually. I'm not playing the objective at all.
The Confederacy is in control of the command post. Enemy reinforcements are thinning.
What?
We've lost control of the command post. The command post has fallen into enemy hands.
Ah! I got stuck? This is the security recording room. If into the security recordings you go, only pain will you find. And that's no mystery, Yoda. Boy, I'm a cockroach. Oh! I didn't know that was
The command post is no longer under
theirs.
Confederacy
I thought
control.
that was one of my guys.
The command post is under Confederacy control.
Jeez, this...
The command post has fallen into enemy
I
hands.
know they're auto turrets, but come on. Nah.
We've lost control of the command post.
Uh-oh.
Command post under enemy control. Reinforcements are being depleted.
Uh-oh. Hey, man. Did I get him? Tyson Fury got him.
The Confederacy is in control of the command post. Enemy reinforcements are thinning. The Confederacy is in control of the command post. We've lost control of the command post.
Look at this boy. He's a goodness. That was a straight up ARC trooper. It was another player, I know, but still, he moved good. He moved good. Who are you? Ah. I had to look down because I knew. This boy was using the chairs as cover. I cannot believe it. Do I want to keep using him? Yeah, I do. I really do. Ugh. Saw that. It was like a dude glitching through the floor. Like, wait. Ah! Skip me while I walk. I crouch in here. Look at how he walks. I'm almost there. I will unleash hell. I'm kidding, bro. Hey, man. I need you to chill. Oh, oh. What was that? We lost. Oh, we're back. Oh, Mustafar, so cool, though. Why is this game doing this to me? Excuse me. No. Oh, man. Sorry. I'm very bit tired.
We control a command post. Hostile reinforcements are dropping.
Ah. That was a weird sound, man. I don't know about you. I'm not gonna go, eh. I'm gonna go, fuck, you shot me. Ah, ah, ah. Ah. Legolas, take him down. Legolas.
Command post. We gained a command post.
Kitty.
Reinforcements.
Legolas, something. I always love when they speak Elvish. They're like, ah. Lion killed.
We can't afford to keep
Nicholas, Yankee. Alright, guys. We're gonna do it. I came over here to shit up, man. It's a little low. Man, you don't need all this stuff. It's an old game. Nobody's looking at that. You know what I mean? Who cares? I still like you. You're still cool to me, but I'm still chugging over there because I like.
Reinforcements are dropping. The enemy is in control of another command post.
Wow. Wow. Look at that. And this, if you follow me over here, this is where Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi were fighting to the death. And he was like, I hate you, and well.
We've captured a command post.
And that is how Anakin died. Thank you. That concludes my tour. I have third-degree burns. Girl, why did you run into the wall? Move, can you move? Who are you? Who even are you? If you can hear, if there's a voice chat, I apologize. There. Maybe that'll make it run a little bit. Oh God!
We've lost control of the command post.
It's still running like trash. I don't care. If you came here for a 4K stream, then I will sadly disappoint because I don't know. My computer just says nah, I don't want it. I don't want it.
We captured a command post.
Ah! Keep playing with me. Tyson Fury killed me.
We can't afford to keep losing command posts. Hostiles have captured a command post. We've lost a command post.
Oh, hey, little guy. Immediately start shooting. Excuse me. Oh, man. I'm so sleepy. I'm sorry. This is bothering me. I'm gonna
They're
have to.
losing reinforcements.
Come here. Oh, whoa. Hold up there, player!
Can't afford to keep losing command posts.
Ah!
The enemy has captured a command post.
I forgot what I was even trying to do. I was trying to get the command post. Jagweed. Don't you love the sound of the thermal detonators when they roll? They're like, whoa! Oh, you want me, huh? Come on. Come on, player. I killed my own homie. Hello? I will destroy you.
We captured a command post. Hostile reinforcements are dropping. We control the command
You
post.
shall not pass. Wielder of the flame
We
of
control the
voodoo.
command post.
How would yes, please. Yes. Excuse me. Oh, you were so rude, man. Software. Whoa. That's not what I'm going for. Like I said, it's an old game. Do we really need to play like we have the processing power for all this crap? I don't care. I don't care, you know? It's a good game. I'm having fun. Wait, did my crap freeze? Hello? Oh, there it is. Excuse me. I hate that. Let's try that. Wow! What do you know? I ain't seen one of these since I was prospecting on Ord Mantell. Right? That's what he said. What you got here is one of them Camino Saber Darts. Ooh, look at that chunky chunky. Oh no. Did I? Hold up. I made a mistake, didn't I? Give me one moment. Oh man, I'm gonna piss myself off. Excuse me, sorry. It's cool. What is this? Don't do this to me. One second, I need to fix this.
The Republic has the flag. The CIS controls the flag.
Oh crap! All right, we got it. Who's we? I got it. Oh, that hurts. All right, I'm good. I'm good.
Droids have the flag. The CIS no longer has the flag.
Oh!
The Republic no longer possesses the flag. Republic meatbags control the flag. One point for the
Excuse me. Still over here chugging?
We've lost a command post.
Yes.
Fight for it.
Fight for it. We've lost the command post.
A command post has fallen to our enemies. We're losing reinforcements.
Stop punching, dude. This is where Padme died because she lost the will to live. Hey, man. Racism will
Our
not be
numbers are
tolerated.
being depleted.
What happened to the audio? Hello?
Our reinforcements are thinning.
Can't hear anything. Why do you keep popping up over there? Stop it. Hey, dude, can you chill? I don't even know what to put in chat. Ain't nobody talking. Ain't nobody in here talking. um, I don't know. I wish, man, I wish it was the old days of the internet. I could just play like any music I want. Be playing the Doom soundtrack right now. That was loud. All right, all right, all right. Ooh, I'm gonna keep that as well. Excuse me. God, you're so rude, man. Still good, Darcy. Yeah, you gotta do that royalty free stuff nowadays. Hail from Brazil. Hail. Hail. What the hell? Let's just vibe. Ah! Hey, that's actually really, those are actually really good stats. Actually, should keep that open. I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I don't know. Okay. Okay. Only thing is, you know what? No, I don't want to open you these. You have too much RAM. How do you make it go into the little window? You know, like the little window, or is that only for premium? That is amazing. I don't know why I hear like Arthur's voice. That is amazing.
Say so. You can go find some other fool to run your errands.
Bill, come on over here. Will you be my other fool? You too, Charles.
What are you talking about?
Arthur's above a little stick-up I heard about.
No, I'm not.
You just said.
Hey, I'll do it. As long as you ride with us.
I got a serious medical condition.
Yes, you are a compulsive liar.
No need to be like that. Charles, have I ever lied to you?
I hardly know you.
Exactly. Now, you boys should do this.
I ever lied to you? I hardly know you. That's what, that's what I say. I have to tell people. Be like, why you over there being so quiet? I don't know you. I don't know who you are. Oh man. Chill synth. Did they encounter a dog man? My boy looking fresh. Look at him with that cap and that beard. Ain't got can't grow it. Metal Slug. The annoying whammy bar. Oh, I want to see Jonah Hill get slapped.
You okay? Hey, pal. I said to Jonah before we started, I said, hey, look, man, it's Martin Scorsese movie, man.
Right.
You know, I'm going to slap you.
Well, we were doing this scene where it's really heavy scene where I get punched in the face and it wasn't looking quite real.
I said, just let me slap you, and as soon as the scene's over, slap me back off camera. You can smack the shit out of me.
You dress like shit.
And you know, Jonah, he just it wasn't something he was totally into at the time.
If Martin Scorsese asked me to do anything for this character, I would have done it, and I pretty much do.
And Jonah, you know, he was brave, man. He said, okay, you know, this is gonna be the real punch, everybody. And I want everyone to be ready. You know, they were ready with like an ice pack and shit like that.
Scorsese asked if I would take one in the face for real, and I did.
You mother.
You okay?
Hey,
pal.
I said to Jonah
You heard
before
the
we
meat?
started,
The
I
meat,
said, hey,
that meat hit. Bleh.
What got me was that of all the times it could have happened, it happened on a Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah. Shut up.
Admiral Hackett's mobilizing the fleets.
Yeesh.
I'm guessing words made it to Alliance Command. Something big's headed our way.
That's what she said.
God help us all.
People say I am the best boss. They go, God, we've never worked in a place like this before. You're hilarious. And you get the best out of us. I think that pretty much sums it up.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm.
Stay fucking calm.
Yes, I was the first one out. And yes, I've heard women and children first. But we do not employ children. We are not a sweatshop, thankfully. And women are equal in the workplace by law. Just hit me. You'll see.
Okay, loco.
Come on. I live by one rule. No office romances. No way. Very messy, inappropriate. No. But I live by another rule. Just do it.
Thank you. My sister is safe again thanks to you.
Did you see that? Did you see it? Did you see what? Wow, we. Well, Jen didn't believe in showing affection, so sometimes I don't know how to react when a girl touches me. Oh, I like it.
Sometimes you have to take a break from being the kind of boss that's always trying to teach people things. Sometimes you have to just be the boss of dancing.
Steve Carell's amazing.
Listen, man, I'm so sorry. I had no idea.
I appreciate that, Commander. I really do.
Maybe we could go out for a beer sometime, and you could tell me how you do that to another dude.
I don't know. Maybe.
Commander, the people of the Alliance have questions.
I have done some very bad things, things of which I am not proud, and I vow to never listen to my bodily instincts ever again.
Isn't it true that you were on Earth when the Reapers attacked?
Oh, okay. I was talking about what's going on?
What's going on? What's going on? Oh, I love this one. This guy Eli Handel,
when the stakes are high at work, your tone matters. Grammarly's advanced tone suggestions can help. Because when
Secret Arasaka project
he's a genius, man. I give him.
The relic is a biochip onto which you can transfer someone's, well, what? Consciousness? Mind? Soul?
Welcome to the club. Where am I?
In Seoul.
Where am I?
Makoshi.
Can I get a refund?
Let's get the fuck away, can we?
Can I get a refund?
I have done exactly what you asked. Don't. What do you want?
I need to find Evelyn.
She got what was coming, as will you.
Time to party like it's 2023.
It is 2023.
Is this pain?
It is.
It is. Stuff like that is great. Arnold, I'm not a pussy. If I want to smoke a stogie, I smoke a stogie. The perfect girl. Why? How did this happen? Like the whole like Patrick Bateman thing just came out again. He's a deplorable person, but even Christian Bale was like, no, why? But I don't know. That's weird. You will not. Oh, I don't want no soft tender stuff. I just love Red Dead stuff. So.
when the
Yeah, whatever. We'll just leave it there. Wait, is it the hat? Oh no, the hat's in the hatch underneath the building. What the? What'd you find, buddy? Oh! Excuse me, again. So, nothing, huh? I'm so dumb. That's part of the game. When I replay this game, I'm gonna, cause I always have a bunch of crap, and then when I try to loot, it's like you have too much of this item, or you can't carry anymore. So I should just what do you call it? Oh, sell it all. I'm sorry. I was thinking. Oh, hell yes. I love stuff like this too.
Thursday, October 31st.
streets are crowded for the holiday. Even with the rain. Hidden in the chaos is the element, waiting to strike like snakes. But I'm there too. Watching. 2 years of nights have turned me into a nocturnal animal. I must choose my targets carefully. It's a big city. I can't be everywhere. But they don't know where I am. We have a signal now. For when I'm needed. But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning. It's a warning. To them. Fear. Fear is a tool. Is a tool.
Check the breaker.
They think I'm hiding in the shadows.
But I am the shadows. This is so epic for no reason other than it's just epic.
But I am the shadows.
God damn. Oh. Tell me you love Batman without telling me you love Batman. Like that's just pretend everything is fine. What happened if you cheated during ancient Olympic games? This people ask these questions. They will come for you, friend. Oh yeah. Red Dead 1. Arthur Morgan. Arthur Morgan. Meditating. Batman. Oh, I love Metal Gear. What is this? Oh, hell yeah, skooma.
New Cocoa
Come on,
Radiant.
Pete.
90%
Please.
more moisture for my
Please with the
one-of-a-kind
ads.
skin.
Oh! Well, maybe it still tastes okay. Charla, can you take all the milk off this? I'm gonna go to the back room for a while.
Charlie, we don't know who this guy is. Are you sure we can trust him?
Pib, this is Mip we're talking about. Wow, my headache is completely gone. Mip rocks! I'm trying to get some crack rocks.
What the hell? That was it. Trying to get some crack rocks. Skooma's one hell of a drug. Skooma, man, I hate y'all. Oh no, I love these. I'm
When
sorry.
the stakes
I'm
are
like
high
on
at
a-
work,
a
your tone
binge
matters.
for these.
Grammarly's advanced tone suggestions can help. Because when you write with just the right confident tone, you can.
Can you even have a spear in Skyrim?
Where the hell are the spears in this game? You're telling me the game has hammers, but no spears?
I can't make myself any clearer.
It's simply not possible to make spears. And I wish you would stop asking.
Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
Because we wanted you to buy them from our mod store.
No, you...
No. No. Why not, you stupid bastard? 15 minutes of useless information about Skyrim. Oh, I love that. Oh. Okay, I'm looking. I'm looking for a rabbit hole. I'm looking. We go. Oh man, hold up. I think we're slowly.
In 10 days, it's time for an Avengers return.
You're an Avenger. You're not the one with the hammer. That's Thor. We get confused a lot. Similar body types.
Ant-Man.
Let's go!
The Wasp.
That's more like it.
Kang.
Hello.
Quantum people.
That guy looks like broccoli.
That was weird.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania.
I literally saved the world.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
PG-13. Tickets available now.
That stupid little part was funny.
What a Don't. That's whatever you want. You have my ears.
And that the secrets of their magics are revealed only by divine.
Looks like you are in some trouble. Since we're friends, don't worry. I'll look the other way and take care of that fine for you.
I really love when it when the camera zooms in like that, like in Fallout. There you go, in New Vegas. And they turn around, they're like, and it's like country rock. What? I don't know what that is. Ooh. What is going on over here? Oh, Fortnite. At least Vegeta's in this one. The other ad didn't have Vegeta. That was offensive.
Oh, shit! This one's regenerating!
How are you going to kill it?
I'm not!
How are you going to kill it?
Ellie, I'm on my way to the mirrors now.
Are you ready?
This is gonna hurt, isn't it?
Step inside.
Cross my heart and hope to die. Stick a needle in your eye.
Oh my god, y'all remember this? I just want to cry. Torah's Torah. Excuse me, sorry. I'm so excited for The Mandalorian season 3 though. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Oh yeah. I want to see this. What is this?
Your story is nearing its end.
It just looks like you're killing people. Oh, I guess it just looks like you're murdering people.
Looking forward.
Yeah, aren't this just good, right? It's ridiculous. I love this game. Oh, this one.
Somebody shoot them. You're gonna die, son. Brucerai all'inferno. You piece of shit.
You think about shit. It's mine. Oh, excuse me. Doom Hunter. Royalty free. Say no more. Say no more. Don't look at my playlist, heathens. Fallout 3's Dark Mansfield. I want to see. Oh! The fuck is that? It scared me. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. You don't do it like that.
You got lunch plans? You do now. New Pizza Hut melts, just $6.99.
Can you stop? Rampage. What's that? When you play Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC. Now what is he doing?
I'm gonna fuck you up.
You ain't tough, my friend. What are you talking about now? But you know how to look it. You need to watch it. You're dead.
Why you letting him touch you like that, huh?
Who's talking now?
Micah.
the simpleton out of the asylum. You're one to talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a BK stacker. Two linebackers.
To each their own.
15 seconds of this trash. That boy was not a linebacker. I'm just saying. That boy was not a linebacker. That was a defensive lineman. A tackle or O-line, but that was not a linebacker. Unless standards have changed. Where is he from?
Yeah, boy.
Are you
prepared to die for your cause? I am the danger.
Why they still shoot each other?
You
want to tussle? Oh, hey, man.
You're dead.
Hey, you let Micah put too many hands on you. I'm just saying. Hey, man. He pulled his gun out and started shooting you. Please kill him. Gee, you...
Ever since Taylor started looking for a new cashback credit...
Oh, how are you going to let him mess you up like that?
Wallet, the smartest decision for all your financial decisions.
This is my own private domicile, and I will not be harassed. Bitch!
What the hell is wrong with you? We're a family! We're done when I say we're done.
Jesus. What's this?
Engineers are interesting creatures. When they
She called engineers creatures?
Once and for all, Arthur.
What now?
We're back, and I'm sitting here, and I am contemplating the great journey of the sun and considering a famous chess move. Those oily enactors of a mediocre justice, the Pinkertons, and their benefactor, the depressing millionaire Leviticus Cornwall, they want us, Arthur. They want us. And they are going to have us.
Maybe they ain't the problem.
Meaning?
I don't know. It's just, well, I can't help but feel we would have been better running off someplace else.
But the game ain't over, Arthur. I mean, I ain't played my final move, but
I guess I'm more interested in saving lives than winning a chess.
And maybe life ain't such a thing to cling on to so tightly.
No doubt. What about the women?
You sound like Hosea. I miss him.
I asked you a question.
What do you think?
We can't stay here. That much is obvious. Where are we gonna run to? I mean, they chased us from the west. They chased us over the mountains. They ran us into the sea.
Arthur, do you have my back?
Always, Dutch. But there's more than your back to worry about. We need more money. We've been on the run for months now, and I seen you killing folk in cold blood like you always told me not to. And I'm sorry, but I can't help but think that if we
There is country in Roanoke Ridge past Butcher Creek I believe we could hold.
Okay.
You and Charles, you can take folks up that way. Micah and I need to do some reconnaissance.
Micah?
I ain't got a final plan yet. Arthur, I ain't got it. I just need time. I need time and no traitors.
Dutch is an asshole, man. He always was. That's horrible. Cultist base with wushu dolls? The wushu?
Here's a fact that I bet you didn't know about Assassin's Creed Revelations. It was never actually meant to exist. At a time in 2011, the Nintendo 3DS was an extremely popular console. This was the time when handheld consoles were taken over. So Ubisoft wanted to release a game for Nintendo 3DS. But in terms of hardware, it really wasn't powerful. So it meant that they couldn't just re-release the exact same game to both PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, with it also being played on Nintendo. So they were going to create an exclusive called Assassin's Creed Lost Legacy. This was even announced by Nintendo back in E3 2010, but 3 months later it was cancelled. And the idea for Lost Legacy was then created into what we now know today as Assassin's Creed Revelations.
Man, game studios, they really need to stop letting execs do the stupidest shit you've ever heard of. Like, just for money. They're like, let's do this shit, and then it doesn't work out. Like, I just wish, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the artists were the executives were the artists at one point, and then they saw how much money they were making as an exec, and they lost their passion, man. I don't know, but they do some stupid shit.
When the stakes are high at work, your tone matters.
Like
Grammarly's advanced tone suggestions can help. Because
I made sure your first kiss was an interesting one.
Cough just won't go away. Runny nose looks a funny color.
Patient admitted complaining of back spasms.
I think I read about something like that.
What the hell? I said, you sweet God, man, it's like coming for me with a vengeance. I don't know. I remember how the show House. Why the hell does he sound like that? He's like that's his American accent, because this dude's British. But listen to him.
Patient is orange.
The color?
No, the fruit.
I mean yellow. It's jaundice.
I mean orange.
Well, how orange? It's probably...
Damron 1.
I was patrolling White Run when my show got stuck. I mean, it hurt a little, but I kept patrolling. Next morning, I could barely stand up. You're smiling, so I take it that means it's not serious. What's that? What are you doing?
Painkillers.
Oh, for your leg.
No, because they're yummy.
Did you take an arrow to the knee? I did one time.
You want one? You'll feel better. Unfortunately, you have a deeper problem. Your wife is having an affair.
What?
You're orange, you moron. It's one thing for you not to notice, but if your wife hasn't picked up on the fact that her husband has changed colors, she's just not paying attention.
So, when I was telling people, no lollygagging, my wife was gagging lolly.
By the way, do you consume just a ridiculous amount of carrots and megadose vitamins?
So, when I was saying, someone stole your sweet roll, someone was sticking their fingers in my wife's sweet roll.
Carrots turn you yellow, the niacin turns you red. Find some figure paint and do the math. You can get a good lawyer.
That lion hoe. Y'all foul for that. I hate you guys. Oh, the internet. It steals children's skins. Nah, that sounds dumb. Becoming max level in Skyrim is ridiculous. Oh, I put my level on legendary and I walked up to somebody and I smacked them with a sword and they killed me right away. Oh, I'm sorry, that just made me laugh though. What?
Speaking of mods, there's one I like where someone added physics to female breasts in the game.
What? Y'all weird. And then you guys go from creative to being weird. What is this? I don't know what that is. What is this? Oh wait, we already looked at that. Excuse me. And Joe Weirder meets Arnold for the first time. What do you mean? What movie is this? Who'd they use for Arnold? Is this supposed to be Arnold? Oh god, what is that?
Let's party.
Let's party.
Wow. I think you found another species.
And then Joe Weird, who portrayed Joe Weird, the actor? No, I don't care. They portrayed Arnold like he was slow. They did. They did. That's funny though. Like, did that dude really get swole for that part? Like, that's commitment to the craft, right? He's like, I'm gonna get as big as Arnold, and they're like, you don't have to, and they're like, no, I'm gonna do it. Oh, that's crazy. Don't want to watch that movie. Don't want to see that. It's just interesting. It's just interesting. What is that? Oh, what? I've heard of this. Oh, it's a secondary fire for the line gun. That's so badass. What was that? What's going on? Stop it. Oh no. hurt my feelings right now. It could be me too. I am running this at really crappy settings. Because I have to be careful with the chair. I know it's your favorite chair. Get out of here. They portrayed me like an idiot. This is Mr. Universe. I smoke the stogies. Yeah, yeah. And my mouse is so damn loud. It's like clack, 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 clack. Oh crap, that's because I locked it at 10 frames per second. That's awesome. Wait, so what is that? Keep missing. What does that do? So it's a laser itself, right? This game is wild. You could totally just bunker up and fuck themselves up, huh? This moron. Yo, I'm gonna cheese this up. I'm gonna do that. Hey, what happened? He's dead. I don't know who that is. What the hell happened? Oh, it's just... Okay, I think we get it. Excuse me, just give me 1 second. Almost broke the chair again. Ridiculous. Get out of here, son of a bitch. Dagoth's yours. What? I don't know. It's too much effort. Mediocrity. I'm glad I didn't buy that game. I almost bought it. Sorry. My tummy hurts. I don't know. How deep is your love? Forgot what song that is. Sounds like some church music. I'm good. you a dangerous man. Who are you? Go away. Ew, that looks... Oh my god, looks scary. That looks freaking scary. Actually, that's of Gandalf's healing of despair. And the healing of despair. But Mortuary Assistant is a really good game, man. Really good game. I actually really like it, but I don't have it, and I wouldn't play it because I'm a coward. Okay.
Hold there.
What do you need, Peck?
Before I let you into Riften, you need to pay the visitor's tax.
What?
For the privilege of entering the city. What does it matter?
Look, Fuckstick, I'm incredibly busy, so why don't you get the hell out of here before I snap your dick off and jam it into your ass?
All right, keep your voice down. You want everyone to hear you? I'll let you in. Just let me unlock the gate.
We don't negotiate with terrorists.
So stupid. I love this one, even though I've seen it.
There it is! God damn it, this is exactly what I was worried about! It's the end of the Vitruvian era! It's over! God damn! God damn! My essence has been ruined by tiny cars, castle beds, and goddamn, I hate this godforsaken country!
I love that show. Oh my god. Introducing my mother to the apocalyptic wasteland. What? What? It's outrageous. It's unfair. Djibouti dubs. What else? Gets so cold and my nose gets all stuffy. I hate it. It's gonna be 31 tonight. It's not. It's like the norm now. Will you stop casting your actors off the street? I've actually seen that movie. It's pretty... made me uncomfortable. Robert Pattinson's a good actor, though. Excuse me. Y'all ever get gassy? It's like an old people thing now.
Sometimes things come back, mate. We live in proof, you and me.
Aye, but that's a gamble of long odds, ain't it? There's never a guarantee of coming back. Passing on, that's dead certain.
Summoning the Brethren Court.
It's our only hope, lad.
That's a sad commentary in and of itself.
World used to be a bigger place.
Will's still the same. It's just... bless him.
Just kidding. I'm not going anywhere. My love for you is too strong.
I always love that line. Still the same, there's just less in it. It's a good line. I like that line. And we're never gonna get Johnny. We're never gonna get Johnny again, man. I miss you, Johnny. What? What is this? Okay, what is this?
The thing that's different about it.
That reminds me of the Untitled Goose Game music.
Marcus Halberstram for 2 at 7.
No, I want to know. Okay, I came here for the cilantro crawfish gumbo, all right, which is, after all, the only excuse one can have for being in this restaurant, which is, by the way, almost completely empty.
I'm very sorry, sir.
J&B straight and a Corona.
Would you like to hear the...
Double absolute martini.
Yes, sir. Would you like to hear the specials?
Not if you want to keep your spleen.
Huh.
This is a real beehive of activity, Halberstram. This place is hot. Very hot.
He didn't even place the order. He just went to another table.
Outrageous here.
Yeah, well, you're late.
Hey, I'm a child of divorce. Give me a break. I see they've omitted the pork loin with lime jello.
We should have gone to Dorsia. I could have gotten us a table.
Nobody goes there anymore.
Nobody goes there anymore.
Is that Ivana Trump? Jeez, Patrick. I mean, Marcus, what are you thinking?
I mean, Marcus.
Why would Ivana be at Texarkana? So, wasn't Rothschild originally handling the Fisher account? How'd you get it?
Well, I could tell you that, Halberstram. But then I'd have to kill you.
Wait a second. So if he thought
I like to dissect
Marcus,
girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Great tan, Marcus. I mean, really impressive. Where do you tan?
Salon.
I've got a tanning bed at home. You should look into it. And, Cecilia. How is she? Where is she tonight?
Cecilia's, well, you know Cecilia. I think she's having dinner with, Evelyn Williams.
Evelyn. Great ass. Goes out with that loser Patrick Bateman. What a dork.
Another martini, Paul.
Another martini, Paul.
You like Huey Lewis in the news?
They're okay.
Their early work was a little too new wave for my taste. But when Sports came out in '83, I think they really came into their own, commercially and artistically. The whole album has a clear, crisp sound and a new sheen of consummate professionalism that really gives the songs a big boost.
I wonder what he was taking. Antipsychotics?
He's been compared to Elvis Costello, but I think Huey has a far more bitter, cynical sense of humor.
Hey, Halberstram.
Yes, Alan?
Why are there copies of the style section all over the place? Do you have a dog? A little chow or something?
No, Helen.
Is that a raincoat?
Yes, it is. In '87, Huey released this, 4, their most accomplished album. I think their undisputed masterpiece is Hip to Be Square. A song so catchy, most people probably don't listen to the lyrics. But they should, because it's not just about the pleasures of conformity and the importance of trends. It's also a personal statement about the band itself. Hey, Paul! Start getting a reservation at Dorkin now, you fucking stupid bastard! You fucking bastard!
Probably. Funny how young he was. He looks like a man, but he's like still a kid, you know? Design analysis, business cards. What? There's a whole thing on it? That's weird. How strange. That's great. Let's see Paul Allen's card. Well, Batman killed the Joker. That's insane when you think about it. You know, Christian Bale is the Batman, and then, or, you know, Batman, and then Jared Leto is a Joker, not the Joker, but just interesting how it all like ties up. It's weird. It's weird. Nope, I don't want to watch that. Lords of War. Oh, I saw that movie. That movie's weird. Yeah, see, this is the one where Christian Bale's like, no, he's not a good person. He's an awful person. People are like, so cool. Just subtle hatred on his face. Yeah. Man, that's crazy. No, I don't want to see Lane Staley, man. That breaks my heart. The old boy deteriorated, man. This always pissed me off. This is clearly Jim was in the wrong here. You know, like that was weird of him. And he actually wins. What exactly did Joker do to Jason? Well, we know what he did. He beat the shit out of him and he killed him. By beating the shit out of him. How speedrunners already shattered Dead Space remake? Well, probably. Oh god, yeah, Joel's death. It's not a. I hated that death. Made me cry.
Do 2 W2s make a W4?
No, you moron.
Are you kidding?
I'm just trying to stay in today.
During the press conference for The Whale, which premiered at the Venice Film Festival yesterday, that was Brendan Fraser's response to how he is navigating the ups and downs of a Hollywood career, as he appears to be at the beginning of a very big up, as some people...
Okay. No. Come on, it was pretty boring.
In one word only, no. How did a small town boy from Austria become one of the most famous people on earth?
Why do you want me to say it in one word?
One word, Arnold.
I don't stay with your rules. Dream. Dream. I was poor. Because I didn't have anything. I had no money, I had no things, we had no TV, we had no refrigerator, we had nothing as kids. But I was rich because I had a dream.
You had a dream.
I had a dream of becoming the greatest bodybuilder. And I had a dream to use bodybuilding.
Why that man so handsome with
as
that
a
beard
means to
though?
get
You
into
see, y'all
films.
see it?
But
With
I
that
had no
beard?
idea that it would go as far as it did.
They should have given Arnold the beard.
One word only. How did
Oh God.
How dare you say that? I will defend my lady at all costs.
What have I done? Well, gotta give him the effort. A for that effort. Or an E for that effort.
Do you like sushi?
This fool said, do you like sushi? What? Oh, that made me so uncomfortable. I hated that. Oh my God, I hated it. Let's read the comments. It's a base. Every weapon is every sort melee weapon is a baseball bat. Yeah. It makes me lose my shit every time with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah, he's you can use spells while you wield a weapon in Oblivion. Yeah. Do you like sushi when I slice up Drakkars with the ebony blade? Oh God, I'm a nerd. No, I'm not. I'm me. Don't label me. Don't put me in a box. I ain't playing your games. Oh.
When the stakes are high at work, your tone matters. Grammarly's advanced tone suggestions can help.
Care. Oh yeah. I still have never finished that quest.
To them, talk to me again. Otherwise, keep it. Maybe it'll bring you luck.
How many of stones are there in this game?
There are 24 of these stones scattered around Skyrim.
Here are the stones marked on the map for me.
No, you will have to find them all by yourself.
So let me get this straight. I have to look around this entire game to find some smallest stones, and you think that's okay?
Yep. Walter, are you okay?
No, it's accurate.
You want to find 30 Nain Road instead?
Some of those quests, man, is boo boo. Owie. What is that? Ow. What does that sound? That's a weird sound. In earlier versions of the games, the stones weren't even anchored to their spawn points. They could be knocked around the room by effects such as your shouts. This is the worst paragraph I've ever read in gaming. Come on. I think Bethesda tricked us into thinking they were a good developer, and we believe it every time. Every time they release a game, we're like, yay, a Bethesda game. Stop being mean to Bethesda. No, be mean to Bethesda. Make them fucking work on this shit.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
That is accurate. That's why I don't want to bring it up. I have it. I want to play it, but I was gonna play it today, but it's so bad. Naughty Dog's game design is so outdated. Boy, I don't know you, but I hope you are not speaking out your internet ass. I hope you actually have experience in game development before you start spewing all that shitty nonsense. Ugh. I had to give that little rant. Sorry.
Did you know that for RoboCop, the shootout at the cocaine factory was not originally intended to be so fast-paced? The automatic guns used in the scene kept malfunctioning during filming. Most camera shots did not provide more than 3 seconds of usable footage, because most guns were usually jammed by that time. This necessitated quick cuts during editing, which proved to be advantageous for the scene. Did you know that for RoboCop, the shootout at the cocaine factory was not...
He said... Oh, Cicero dancing? I hate that. It's so creepy. 4 scenes to prove Pikey Mickey is Brad Pitt's best role. I don't know. Everything he's... Oh, hold up. Give me a second. Give me one moment. Ooh. Event Horizon. Let's see what...
When the stakes are high at work, your tone matters. Grammarly's advanced tone suggestions can help. Because when you write with just the right confident tone, you can meet any challenge.
Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and this video we're breaking down the classic sci-fi horror Event Horizon. Callisto Protocol and the Dead Space remake has got me feeling for some survival horror in space, so I thought I'd revisit the movie that inspired both games. Though the film was a critical and commercial flop at the time, it's gained a massive following, and I think that's because it's something that's burned into the brains of every kid who watched it when they were younger. Back in 1997, this was my first real experience of something that pushed the limits of body horror this much. I think it had the same effect on a lot of kids growing up. We're all older now, and I think this movie's probably gained a cult following due to it scaring us as kids in a way that left a lifelong impression. Director Paul W.S. Anderson ended up working with Kurt Russell on the movie Soldier immediately after this, and naturally he felt down about the film underperforming. However, Russell said, "Forget about what this movie's doing now. In 15 years' time, this is going to be the movie you're glad you made." And I'm glad he made it too, as throughout this video we're going to be going through all the creepy details and things hidden within it that really elevate the film, and hopefully this helps you appreciate it even more than you already do. When researching films like this, I try to track down the origins for them and see what laid the seeds for the ideas we see on screen. Screenwriter Philip Eisner appeared on the Overhated Movies podcast, and he said that he came up with the idea for the film when he was watching The Shining. The Stanley Kubrick classic is one of my favourite movies of all time, and in case you haven't seen it, it centres around a family put in charge of looking after a haunted hotel for the winter. Due to poor weather conditions, there's no escape, and Eisner said that he very much wanted to do a haunted house movie in space. The Event Horizon was something you couldn't run out of and leave, and you were trapped on there, plagued with visions of hell and completely at its mercy. Another thing Eisner talked about was how space is very much hell as well. Humans can't survive in it, and if you ever find yourself stuck in space, then you're doomed to have an agonizing death as your lungs implode and the moisture in your body freezes. These were the building blocks for the movie, but it's also clear that the writer took inspiration from real-life ghost ships. The Mary Celeste is probably the most famous of these, and it was discovered adrift in the ocean with its crew completely missing. There was no sign of a struggle, and similar to the Event Horizon, it posed an eerie question for centuries over what really happened on it. Now we start off with the Paramount logo before transitioning into space. Absolutely love the way the movie does this, and it takes something calm and peaceful looking and instantly gives a feeling of danger.
Excuse me.
Now, there were hopes that we'd get a director's cut of the movie with extra footage, but unfortunately when they went to salvage this, they found Paramount hadn't been looking after it. We'll talk about what was in those deleted scenes later on, but for better or worse, this is the only cut we'll ever get. Now from here we get what appears to be a black hole that then transforms into an eye. As we go further into this, lines begin to appear, and it starts to transform into a tunnel leading towards the dark center. This is very important iconography, and it's something that repeats throughout the entire film. The gravity drive on the Event Horizon is a black hole that too appears like an eye. Around it are rings, and in order to get there, one has to travel through a bridge which sort of acts like a tunnel. When crafting the design of the ship, the creative team took a lot of inspiration from the cathedral in Notre Dame, and it was built to have this gothic look to it, conjuring up demonic imagery. In order to get to the drive itself, the passengers also have to travel through a smaller tunnel lined with razor-sharp spinning rings. This was done to resemble the 9 circles of hell from Dante's Inferno, and in order to get to the center, one has to pass through this. Now that work contains black holes which inspired the film, and it also has Latin inscriptions above gateways which say, "Abandon hope all ye who enter." Later on they receive a horrifying message in Latin, and this ends up saying, now this is thought to translate to "save me", however it's misheard, with its use here actually meaning "save yourself". Now as we mentioned earlier, the drive being like an eye is also very important. It gives the impression that something is constantly watching, and it very much reflects the saying that when one stares into the abyss stares back. This is very much a black hole at the center of a ship that has the ability to also create black holes. Eyes are something that are constantly brought up throughout the film, and at the end Dr. Weir says, "Where we're going, we won't need eyes to see." Now an event horizon in scientific terms is something that's central to a black hole, and it's linked to the escape velocity that you'd need to escape one. Black holes have a gravity pull that means it's almost impossible to leave, and light itself can't even get out of one. This is why black holes look black, as they're completely absent of light, and as we need light to see, the characters wouldn't need eyes when they go into one. Now from here we get a rundown of man's achievements since 1997. What's that say? 2015. First permanent colony on the moon. Alright Marty McFly. 2032 apparently had mining on Mars, and in 2040 the Event Horizon was launched. Now obviously for some reason in the 80s and 90s we had a much more optimistic view of what humanity would be able to achieve in the next 40 years.
Right.
Back to the Future was of course one, and don't even get me started on Blade Runner thinking what 2019 would be like.
Right.
Obviously the creators thought things would go better than they did, and this is actually reflected in the uniforms that the crew wear as well. When creating them, Sam Neill actually requested that the Union Jack on his Australian flag should be replaced by an Aboriginal one to show that they gained independence from the British, but we'll never let you have it. Now, the US flag also has 55 stars in it, and the one for the EU has 22. Obviously, it's not 2047 yet, but hey, fingers crossed, we can all come together. Anyway, we then get some text that discusses the Event Horizon itself. Known as the worst space disaster on record, the ship was created to explore the boundaries of our solar system. It disappeared without a trace by Neptune, and we discover that it's been sighted once more above the planet, having returned from where it came from. The public were told a lie, and the official story said that the reactor went critical, which is when it self-destructed. This was to cover up the fact that they were attempting to create faster-than-light travel, which would break the laws of relativity and also the laws of physics. In the movie, we discover that the wormhole the drive opened actually created a gateway to hell itself, and doorways like this have appeared throughout myths and legends. Concocted during medieval times, it was believed that doorways to hell could be opened up, and that Satan and the souls of the damned would transport them to hell. Ouija boards are thought to be able to lower the barrier, and even in films like Rosemary's Baby, we get the notion that a gateway can be created. Medieval imagery is laced throughout the movie, and though we can't show it because of YouTube's stricter monetization policies, a lot of the torture devices are based on those created in the Middle Ages. Notre Dame itself was completed in the 1300s, and we of course hear Latin throughout the film when the passengers return from hell. This was all done to tie our own Dark Ages into futuristic space travel, and I love the way they've melded the past and future. The idea of eyes is hammered home when we first catch the ship, and behind it we can see the Eye of Neptune, which acts almost like it's watching it. As mentioned earlier, Event Horizon would go on to inspire games like Dead Space, and watching it drift past the camera gave me a lot of feelings of the Ishimura. We then cut at the ship itself and can once more see the large rings that line the walkway, and also pass a watch which is the Omega Speedmaster. Now, this is actually the wristwatch that was worn on the first American spacewalk, which I think is a nice cool little Easter egg. Now from here we catch Dr. Weir floating, and this is done in front of a cross symbol to evoke crucifixion imagery. It turns out that this is a dream that he's having, and this actually plays in the ending of the film. Though some people manage to survive, Stark has a vision where she thinks the rescue crew is headed up by none other than Dr. Weir. This being put in place to mirror the opening lends to the possibility that they might not have escaped the ship at all, and it may be pulling them back just like how it did with Dr. Weir. I don't think that's the case, but I thought I'd bring it up just in case, and we will discuss it more as we hit the end of the video. Now, Weir's a tortured character, and we learn that he's haunted by the guilt he feels over his wife taking her life. Guilt is something that's prevalent throughout the film, and the three characters that are harmed by the ship directly all suffer from this. On top of Weir, Peters is the character that ends up taken by the ship.
Actually, I'm just gonna take a brief intermission. I have to go to the restroom. And we all know how that's gonna go. No, we don't know how that's gonna go. But I just need to use the restroom. I'm gonna go pretty late, honestly. I don't care. I got nothing else to do. Be right back.
ship, and she carries the guilt of her broken marriage and also the fact she left her son on Earth. We discover that Miller tried to have her replaced so that she could stay and look after her sick son, but unfortunately the transfer didn't go through in time. Her death could be something that he later feels responsible for, and it's clear that she feels like she abandoned her ill child. She's tormented with visions of him, and the spectre very much represents the guilt that she's carrying. And lastly is Captain Miller, played by none other than Lawrence Fishburne. We discover that he abandoned a past crew member and that they ended up burning to death in space, which was completely agonizing. He still feels guilt over this, and his sacrifice at the end is him very much atoning for that loss by staying behind like his shipmate. Now it's possible that Stark may carry guilt over this and feel like she abandoned him, which is why she gets the vision. It's important to bear in mind that each person killed by the ship had something to atone for, and this may be why we see Weir at the end. Anyway, Weir walks about his room, and we see a shrine of photos dedicated to his wife. Weirdly, there's two of the same ones here, and that's what you get for having photos, mate. Didn't they have iPhones in 2047? Didn't predict that, did you, you opening crawl, you Now he looks at a bathtub, which we discover she drowned in, and later on he'll be bathed in water surrounded by the opposite to it in fire. This very much represents the fire of hell, and water and fire are of course opposites. Weir then opens his blinds, and we hear this sound. Now this was actually taken from the video game Doom, which is of course also closely linked to Hell. Now from here we get an incredible one-take shot of Daylight Station. Initially we start off with an upside down view of Weir before we pull out and get a rotating shot of the entire station before we see it in all its glory above Earth.
I need to watch this movie again. This is one of my favorites. Whoa, that's just a cluster of fuck.
Now what you probably don't know is that this 45-second shot actually cost a third of the film's budget. Anyway, he reports to the Lewis and Clark, which is where we meet the rest of the characters.
What the hell?
This shot also does something similar to the prior one, but instead we zoom in on the ship. VFX artist Sue Rowe said it was the most difficult shot she'd ever worked on, and it involved lining up different model shots and passes with footage using real actors. Now the name Lewis and Clark was chosen for a specific reason, and it's meant to mirror the Event Horizon. Lewis and Clark carried out an expedition across America, and they mapped out most of the West during the 1800s. The Event Horizon is of course setting off on its own expedition into uncharted territory, and it's sort of like poetry play rhyme. Now this is very much a search and rescue mission, and you can actually see the red US Coast Guard racing stripe painted on the hull. The crew also have a shield on their lapels, which too is a symbol that the Coast Guard use. As mentioned earlier, the Event Horizon is based on ghost ships, so this Coast Guard inclusion is really smart. Alongside Justin, we also meet Smith, played by Sean Pertwee. Carrying on the religious imagery, he also draws a sign of a cross on his chest before the crew get up and leave. Now at this point we get some subtle coffin imagery as Miller walks through one of the doorways. You may notice that the opening is shaped like a coffin, and this is something that repeats throughout the film at several points. The suspended animation tubes also give the idea of death, with us catching Cooper floating in one, which, I don't know, just looks very strange. Now you can also catch an ink tattoo on Smith's back, which is supposed to represent life. We then see as the moon passes in front of Neptune, again creating this eye imagery before we cut to Weir. Weir ends up having a nightmare that he wakes up on the ship and finds his wife with her eyes missing. Now before he spins the chair around, we actually get a reflection of her face in a screen, and if you look along the top, you can catch a pair of eyes. I almost pooped my pants when I first noticed these, and it gives the feeling that you're constantly being watched. Now his wife very much inspired Nicole in Dead Space, and just in the same way that she appeared in visions, his wife also does too. Dead Space even somewhat took the ending of this movie, with us getting a jump scare from Nicole, whereas yeah, it is of course Weir. Now from here we cut to a video of Denny's birthday party, and look at that clown mate, me. Try telling me this isn't a horror movie. No, they sit around a table chatting away, and this is clearly riffing on the dinner scene that happens in Alien. We can see that Smith also wears a crucifix, and we meet Cooper and DJ. Is that Lucius Malfoy?
It is.
Anyway, Weir explains how wormholes work, and he does this by using a piece of paper. This is something that's been used in several other films, including Interstellar, and more recently in Thor: Love and Thunder. Now we discover that they were attempting to reach
hated
Proxima
that movie.
Centauri, which in reality is one of the closest
Thor.
stars to our sun.
Interstellar
This has its own system of planets that could potentially one day allow us to inhabit it, again tying into this idea of it all being an expedition. Now they discover the ship after a little bit of trouble, and we see the little toy bear fall off one of the computers. I'm reaching, but Justin goes by the nickname Baby Bear, and Peters goes by the nickname Mama Bear, and they both fall, so foreshadowing. Anyway, they look at the ship through a periscope, and this contains text from the compartmental destruction of radio tracers, as well as the IBM 7094. They come across the docking bay, and we can see Roman numerals on it. These give the number 13, which is of course thought to be unlucky. Now the team suit up and head out, and if you checked out our breakdown of Arrival, then you'll know we talked about how the hazmat suits on the ship were CGI. This was to help the actors act like they were in space, but in 1997 they didn't have that kind of technology. Everything had to be done practically, and the suits were extremely heavy. This got to the point that in between takes, the crew had to be suspended on poles to take the weight off their back. 80skids.com shouted that when Eisner visited the set, Lawrence Fishburne shouted, "You're Eisner, you did this to me," and the writer quickly left. Now we also see the suits clamped down with magnetic boots, and again, this heavily inspired Isaac Clarke's suit in Dead Space. Justin makes his way into the core, and I don't know if I'd be walking into a room with spikes on the doors like that, but moving on. Now Peter discovers the corpse with its eyes out and cuts across his face, and this is something that Weir later ends up doing, showing how the ship needs a member of the crew that it can use to carry out its will. The gravity drive activates, and it pulls Justin while sending out a shockwave. This causes the Lewis and Clark to overload, and thus the crew have to go into the event horizon. Slowly, they piece together what happened on it, and we see Weir explaining how the gravity drive works. He stares at it and focuses on the circles, with them seeming almost like eyes that are then reflected in his own. Peters then discovers the final log, which plays out what happened when they opened the gravity drive. This unleashed hell, and the footage we get here, you know what I'm gonna say, can't show it on YouTube. It's on Reddit though, and if you click the more comments on the pinned one, I'll leave you a link where you can go see the images and then come back. If not, I was thinking about recreating it, but we'll try and keep things PG-13. Everything's on screen for a split second, and it's a montage of messed up moments that have some of the sickest body horror I've ever seen. There's also the captain who holds up a pair of eyes in his hands, tying into the fact that they don't need them to see in hell. Weir then crawls into the maintenance tunnels, and we get a similar scene to Alien. These cramped conditions create claustrophobia, and eventually he's grabbed by a vision of his wife. Miller sees the crew member he left behind, and this ends up foreshadowing why Weir takes on this form at the end of the movie. Stark concurs that the ship is indeed alive now, and Eisner said he took inspiration from The Haunting by making the location just as unnerving as the events we see playing out. After lying comatose with his eyes open, Justin then gets up and he goes out to the airlock. The scene is so tense as we have a countdown going on, knowing that he's about to be thrown into space. You also have a locked room that Stark's trying to get open, and Miller racing towards him in order to save his life. Each one of these is against the clock, with them desperate to stop what we know is about to happen. Miller manages to save him, but it's clear that the guy has gone through hell. After hearing the voice of his doomed crew member, Miller sits down with DJ and he tells him about what happened. I love this shot of the two corridors with them, and it almost creates a feeling of a face. The way the corridor wraps around them makes it seem like eyes silently watching them in the background as the story plays out. Miller says that fire in space washes over someone like water, and this further ties the two elements together like what we talked about earlier. On the outer hull, Smith and Cooper fix up the ship, which is when Weir begs them to stay. He disappears into the shadows after saying the ship won't let them leave, which is of course when it all goes down. In a similar scene to Alien, we watch two crew members taking supplies and trying to flee the ship. However, it powers up and it tricks Peters into returning after she sees a vision of her son. We get the gravity drive reflected in her eyes, and as she runs through the tunnels, we can also see this looks like an eye itself. The light in the background acts as a pupil, and the tunnel itself ends up being the iris. Now she climbs up a ladder, and as she goes up it, we see doorways shaped like coffins all around her. Her son also stands in a coffin-shaped doorway, and this leads to her falling to her death. This idea of guilt is also mirrored in Weir, who has a vision of his wife's death before she pushes his eyes out. This allows him to see the truth, and he starts to kill the other crew members. On board the Lewis and Clark, he places one of the explosives, and Smith discovers this just before it detonates. Now Smith could have actually stopped this, as he had 6 seconds left, and we see a big disarm button. Big disarm button right there, mate. Just need to press that. I love how Cooper actually survives this, and with his boots he stays
Right?
attached to the hull, and then blasts himself back to the ship by purging out his air tank. Again, Dead Space 2 did something similar to this when you finished realigning the solar panels and had to get yourself back to Titan Station as quickly as you could. Now DJ is cut open and left with his guts hanging out, and the creative team said that this was a reference to the Silence of the Lambs novel, which was later brought into Hannibal. Miller finds Stark on the bridge, and we can see that Weir now sits in the captain's chair. He ends up activating the gravity drive, and this then gives them 10 minutes to get off the ship. Cooper makes it back, and he distracts Weir so that Miller can escape, and after the window's blown out, he watches everything get sucked into space. Again, Dead Space 2, they had rooms like this, and it's such a cool effect watching everything get pulled out. Weir is taken out too, and it very much riffs on the dream that he had at the start of the movie. Cooper makes it back on board the ship, and they then plan to blow it. Miller says,
"Look, TDRS will pick up our emergency beacon."
Now TDRS stands for Tracking and Data Relay Satellite, which would be the first thing that would make contact with them. The ship walls then start to bleed, with blood running along the lights and filling up the main chamber. This comes crashing out, and this is clearly reference to the elevator scene in The Shining. Miller is knocked in the gravity drive by what appears to be his friend, but as we've discussed before, this is really weird. He detonates the explosives by trapping himself in with Weir, and this ending is something that's always stuck with me. The guy's just damned himself to suffer in hell for eternity, and he gets sucked into the planet after Weir constantly says, "Do you see? Do you see?" This is possibly also reference to Red Dragon, which ties in with the Silence of the Lamb book before. The lifeboat manages to make it out, and we watch as the Event Horizons pulled into the planet to a fate unknown. We close out with the crew being rescued, but with this part of the ship still remaining, we don't know if the nightmare is truly over. It depends if you see the ship as being alive or not, and whether it's linked to the gravity drive or the lifeboat is detached. We are promised that the crew were all coming with him, and this vision could be a final scare, or it may hint to something sinister going on. I'll leave that up to you to decide, and as for the deleted scenes, these were cut from the film because test audiences didn't like them, and it completely spooked Paramount. As we mentioned, they didn't take care of them, and unfortunately the film has been lost to time. The gore was turned up to 11, with a compilation being extended to show a woman with her mouth being held open by clamps and a man drilling into her teeth. They pop up on screen for a split second. Again, we can't show it, but there are bits where Stark's being crucified on a metal bench with barbed wire wrapped around her head, almost like a crown. Maggots across people's chests, and let's just say, a bit of romance going on. Brief glimpses of these moments specifically are shown in the film, but in the deleted scenes, they got much more focus. Now we also had a nod to The Exorcist, in which Reagan walked backwards down the stairs like a spider. Instead of Reagan though, Weir would do this completely nude after the Shining blood scene. The crew would then discuss their fears, with DJ explaining that the scars on his body were from childhood operations. Peters would also see her son's legs covered in maggots, and all in all, the horror scenes were slightly more intense. Anyway, that wraps up the movie and also our breakdown. I had a blast going through this, and I hope you saw something that you hadn't noticed before. If you enjoyed it, please drop a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe for videos like this every day. If you want to watch our breakdown of Arrival, that will be linked on screen right now, and hopefully you've been enjoying these trips through older movies. The next film I want to tackle is The Shining, so keep an eye out for that. Out of the way, thanks for clicking the video. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week. I've been Paul, you've been the best.
What else you got?
Okay, so the last...
No, don't. Ooh, wait, is this... No, I haven't seen that one. Oh, I haven't seen this one either. I would love to talk Star Wars. Wrecker. Hunter. I love Omega. She's so cool. She's so cool. The Rock fired, hopefully. No, just kidding. No. Logan breakdown. Oh, man. How he survives. I don't know. I want to watch something like that. That was cool. Andor. Oh, I love Andor. So what a great show. There's very little. Honestly, me personally, there's very little from Star Wars that I don't like. It's like a handful of things that I don't really like. It doesn't ruin the IP for me. I love Star Wars. I just I had to accept that's not for me, right? It's not for me. But and I don't even want to say what they are because I don't want to try to start anything. But I generally love everything Star Wars related. Same thing with like DC. I know people didn't like Batman. Which one? The Batman v Superman. I thought Henry Cavill was great. I was in love with his performance right away. Just for me, it was like Zack Snyder passion movie. You know what I mean? Like he really cared about it, and people kind of just laughed it off. Like, oh, well, that was pretty cheesy. I loved it. I've always loved it. And then Batman v Superman. Man, people hated that movie, and I love that movie since it came out. You know, and I used to I bought it like 3 times. I bought it like 3 times. I've bought a lot of movies several times. The Batman though, the Batman is a great movie. I love that movie. Call him emo goth, whatever the hell you want. He's still badass, and I don't care. He's still badass to me. Oh, Ben Affleck's Batman too. I mean, Dylan, you son of a bitch. What is this?
Dylan, you son of a bitch.
Dylan. Was that his? I think that's his son. Dylan, you son of a bitch. I'm not subscribed to Arnold. Are you crazy? You son of a bitch. You make fun of my voice and you're not even subscribed to my YouTube channels. You son of a bitch. I love Arnold. I don't know. Arnold is great. The wrong Spider-Man appeared. Oh, that was so cool. I used to love that when I used to love that. I mean, I loved it when I lost my mind when it's like we all knew, right? We knew they were gonna show up, but it was just so good, you know? Like they were here, Andrew and Toby, and yeah, what's his? I forgot his name. I forgot his name. You know, the kid. Oh crap! Well, there goes me ever. Tom Holland. Tom Holland's great. He's the new age Spider-Man, but Toby and Andrew were wonderful. You know, I grew up with them. I don't know.
Put that cookie down now.
Put that cookie down. Put that cookie down. Oh, 9 years ago. Damn. The best Bane. No, the best Bane is Tom Hardy's Bane. Ah, you think darkness is your ally. You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see light till I was already a man. By then there was nothing to me but blinding. The shadows betray you because they belong to me. And then you know. No, I love that Bane. People made fun of that at first, remember? People made fun of that shit, and then like years later, they're like, Bane was amazing. Oh my god, Tom Hardy, he's so cool. It's like, yeah, he was always cool, you fucks. I stayed. I was there for the premiere too. I was there. That was a funny story, actually. I was watching
James Cameron has often referred to the experience of Aliens as 40 miles of bad road. If you've watched his introduction on this special edition of Aliens, you've no doubt heard him describe it that way, and very clearly declare the special edition as his preferred and intended version
fresh
of
out of
the
high
film.
school.
It's the longer, more grueling and involving
I didn't
experience,
have my car
the
yet.
true version of the film Cameron wanted audiences to see. Integral scenes were
we went
restored,
to the
such as Ripley
Dark Knight
discovering the
Rises
death of her
premiere.
daughter,
I slept in the
subplot
theater. I
involving
bought
sentry
like
guns, and all
3
of the
different
moments on
shows
Hadley's Hope
so I
before the
could,
infestation.
because I couldn't go
which
home
also
till the
saw
morning.
The return of the derelict ship as
So
seen
I
in the first
slept
film.
in the theater.
When it comes to all the
I
other
watched it twice, and
non-special
the last
edition
showing I
deleted
just
footage,
passed out.
James
and I
Cameron
woke
has
up
played it
and was
pretty
like,
close
7
to the
a.m.
chest.
That was
Of
insane.
course, one of the biggest omissions
I have
from
never
the
seen
restored
anyone,
scenes in the
any
special
movie
edition is the
do
moment
that
where
ever
Ripley
again.
finds
I
Burke
will.
cocooned
I
in
think
the hive.
it's because of
For years, people were aware of its
like all the
existence.
shootings
It was
from
confirmed
the
by Cameron as
the
being
movies that
filmed
were
and cut
happening.
out,
They
and
stopped
eventually
doing those,
bootleg
like,
footage
overnight
found its way to
premieres
the
and
internet,
stuff,
as
but
it
it was
does.
cool.
But that scene wasn't even made
I
officially
love that
available,
movie, Dark Knight
simply as a
Rises.
separate
I
special
love
feature
that
on
movie.
home video until 2011.
Fuck
as part
all
of the
y'all.
Alien Anthology
Saying
Blu-ray
it's not as
release.
good as the Dark
It's
Knight.
undoubtedly the crown jewel of the film's
Is
deleted
right
scenes,
there with it.
even presented separately on the Alien Anthology Blu-ray set's
I
archives
love
disc,
Aliens, by the way.
listed above
Aliens
the deleted
is
scenes
so
reel.
Alien.
This
the
reel
Alien
is a 4-minute presentation, mainly
IP
consisting of
is
extended
wonderful.
scenes and pieces of dialogue. There's an extension of the scene where Ripley finds out about her daughter. Burke offers some trite, unhelpful words, and as she grieves, he checks his watch like the complete asshole he is. There's a new lead-in to the processing station scene where
You ever
Newt
do
once
that?
again
Your mom's
tries to
talking to you,
escape,
she's
but
having a
Hicks
heartfelt
catches her
moment, and
this
you're like,
time,
"Oh,
making sure to watch his hand.
damn, Mom,
And
that
there's
sucks.
even the
I gotta
ultra-rare
go."
Spunkmeyer audition tape for Lethal Weapon.
Excuse me.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Danny Glover eats your heart out. All interesting stuff.
Getting
for
too
sure,
old
but
for this
nothing particularly
shit. I
mind-blowing.
love Danny Glover.
The Blu-ray menu claims that this reel represents the remainder of deleted footage not found anywhere else. But is there more unseen deleted footage? Hiding somewhere? Maybe? With the Burke Cocoon scene having such a long history of infamy and finally resolving with its official release on the Blu-ray, perhaps the title of most talked about missing scenes is one involving Bishop in the tunnels of the Colony Complex.
The Batman
apparently having a
premiere.
close call with one of
Well,
the
not the
aliens
premiere,
along
but
the way. Going
I
out
got the
there,
Batman cup.
those things
Oh,
running
I
around
love this
was
cup.
a big risk, but Bishop of
I have the
course
hat,
steps
too.
up during the
I don't have
group's
it
darkest
with
moment
me.
thus far. With the atmospheric processor
The
hours away
Batman,
from
dude.
reaching
Ugh.
meltdown, Bishop volunteers to enter the access tunnels with a portable terminal to access the Sulaco's second dropship, an official designation Smartass, from the colony's uplink tower. It's a selfless and brave act, if such a thing is possible with an artificial person, and as far as anyone involved knew, it
That
would
water
be just
went
as
down.
dangerous, android or not. He employs logic to this decision,
Pretty.
stating that he's the only one qualified
like
to
the
remote
cold
pilot
in
the
it. Come
dropship
here.
anyway, but in more
Game
personal
over, man.
comments, he
Game
admits he'd
over,
prefer not
man.
to. Say it with me now. I may be synthetic, but I'm not stupid. He's sealed into the tunnel, unarmed, alone, and in the dark as he makes his way to the tower. These moments, though brief, are pretty nerve-wracking and claustrophobic. The fear of what could pop up out of the shadows at any moment is scary enough, so if there is a deleted scene where he runs into an alien, it couldn't possibly be any more frightening than the pure anticipation of it actually happening. In the finished film, he arrives at the uplink tower unscathed, able to bring Smartass down from the Sulaco, seemingly uneventful trip down the pipes preceding this. So was Bishop just extremely lucky to not encounter any of the beasts during this mission? Were the aliens unable to pick up on his activity due to being synthetic? Did they know where he was and just not care, not perceiving whatever this being in the pipes is a viable host to propagate the hive? The reasoning and context could depend on the version of the film you're watching. If it's the theatrical version, it could just amount to luck, though in the special edition there's at least an explanation in the fact that all the aliens were busy against the sentry guns during this time. The other explanation, though, is that he did encounter a xenomorph along the way. We just didn't see it. So where did talk of this scene come from?
Learn how to draw
Over the
Peter
years, maybe
Parker.
you've heard from folks who are absolutely convinced they've seen this scene in a version of the movie, who 100% swear to God they caught it on some TV broadcast back in the 80s or something like that.
Oh,
More
that's
than
so
likely,
cool.
though,
I should
they
draw.
did not.
I should
More
draw
than likely,
while I'm
fans
streaming,
first
huh?
caught wind of this missing scene from the Alan Dean Foster novelization, released to coincide with the film
Sometimes
in
that, like,
1986,
when you watch,
which contained
like,
many
other
unseen
artists
moments,
do
including
stuff,
scenes
it
eventually
makes you
restored in the
wanna
special edition, and plenty that didn't.
You know?
In Alan Dean Foster's version of
Oh,
Aliens,
so
this scene does in
clean.
fact play into Bishop's subplot, and his encounter is described. The passage from the novelization plays out as follows.
That's
No matter
so
how
clean.
quiet
I
he
love
tried
that.
to be, Bishop still made noise as the portable flight terminal and his sack of equipment scraped along the bottom of the conduit. No human being could have maintained the
so
pace he'd kept up since leaving operations, but that didn't mean he could keep going indefinitely. There were limits even to a synthetic's abilities.
My name is
Enhanced vision enabled him to perceive the walls of the pitch-dark tunnel as it continued receding ahead of him.
My father's armor.
A human would have been totally blinded in the cylindrical
Says
duct.
here in my chain
At least he didn't have to worry about losing his way.
I
the
love
conduit
the Book
provided
of Boba
almost a
Fett.
straight
That's
shot to
another
the
one.
transmitter tower.
Y'all
A regular
were out
hole
there. No.
appeared in the right-hand wall,
We're hating on
emitting a
Book of
feeble
Boba Fett.
shaft of light.
I fucking loved it.
Among the
Anything with
emotions
Boba
that had
Fett,
been programmed into him was curiosity.
Even
he
my
paused to peer
glasses
through the
are Boba
acid-etched
Fett
crack.
themed
It would be
glasses.
nice to be able to take a bearing in person
My watch
instead
is
of having to
Mando.
rely exclusively on the computer printout of the service shaft plans.
When you love something, you go all the way, right?
Drooling jaws flashed toward his face to slam against the enclosing steel with a
see how
vicious
this
scraping sound. Bishop flattened himself against the far side of
Still
the
has
conduit as
so
the echo of the attack rang
many
along the
people
middle.
watching his stuff.
The curve of the wall where the jaws had struck bent slightly inward. Hurriedly, he resumed his forward crawl. To his considerable surprise, the attack was not repeated, nor could he sense any apparent pursuit.
What?
Maybe the creature had simply sensed motion and had struck blindly. When no reaction had been forthcoming from inside the duct, there was no reason for it to strike again. How did it detect potential hosts? Bishop went through the motions of breathing without actually performing respiration, nor did he smell of warmth or blood. To a marauding alien, an android might seem like just another piece of machinery.
Shush.
So long as he didn't attack
Big
or offer
mean.
resistance, you might be able to walk freely among them. Not that such an excursion appealed to Bishop, since the reactions and motives of the aliens remained unpredictable.
Yo, my tummy
but it
hurts.
was a useful bit of information to have acquired. If the hypothesis could be verified, it might offer a means of studying the aliens. Let someone else study the monsters, he thought. Let someone else seek verification. A bolder model than himself was required. He wanted off Acheron as much for his own sake as for that of the humans he was working with. He glanced at his chronometer, faintly aglow in the darkness. Still behind schedule. Pale and strained, he tried to move faster. To be sure, it's not an unusual occurrence that a novelization of a film not only works on certain artistic licenses, but also is developed from earlier versions of the script, incorporating elements and plot points that eventually ended up scrapped during production. This is especially true when it comes to the Alien movies, especially with the first 3 films in the series adapted by Foster. They're plentiful when it comes to scenes that we'd eventually find were removed from the films, as well as certain concepts that only really became realized the closer they got to the film's completion. You may recall, in the novelization of 1979's Alien, the beast was described as having big, bulbous, insect-like eyes, obviously not a reflection of what we see in the final film. So, we can gather that this scene with Bishop must have been something from an earlier version of Cameron's screenplay. A really nifty resource in narrowing this kind of stuff down can be found with Aliens, the illustrated screenplay, a publication from Orion Books. There's a whole section here, Aliens the Script Cuts, curated by Paul M. Salmon, which outlines the removed scenes, special edition or otherwise. There's useful distinction on that end, and information on where they would have appeared in the film if not removed, and in some cases some explanation as to why they were cut out. Very thorough, very convenient. The only problem, there's no mention whatsoever of this Bishop in the tunnel scene. Not even a clue to its existence. This supplementary section of the screenplay goes to the trouble of reinserting even the smallest of lines that were omitted, yet this scene, this infamous moment, which many have discussed and debated the existence of over the past 3.5 decades, is somehow omitted from the section specifically devoted to omissions. So how can this be? Well, the reason we don't see it showcased in the screenplay cuts is because in the revised final draft of the screenplay by James Cameron, scene 134, Bishop's encounter with the xenomorph in the tunnel, is intact. Same scenario here, though we can see from Cameron's description that we're actually meant to see the reveal of the alien from Bishop's point of view, with snarling xenomorph jaws jumping right at the screen, surely meant to give us a good scare as the audience. Scene 134 is set between Ripley and Hicks bonding over the pulse rifle. In both the theatrical and special edition versions of the film, 134 is represented simply by the cutaway shot of Bishop continuing his journey to the uplink tower. Did James Cameron actually shoot this scene, as described here, but substitute it for the more straightforward cut we see in the final film? Could it possibly have been something left to second unit filming, but either not ultimately filmed due to time restrictions, or filmed but not ultimately up to snuff? Cameron has had lots to say about the film's cuts over the years, but not so much this scene specifically. The closest we've come to getting an answer is from actor Lance Henriksen, who was asked about the scene during a 30th anniversary Q&A for Aliens. The same Q&A, by the way, that gave us this wonderful clip.
Damn.
fan gets up to ask about the tunnel scene, and the answer Henriksen gives isn't everything we could hope for.
Yo, they raw. He said, "Fuck Alien 3."
But in one version of the script, where you're like crawling through the pipe, you run into an alien. Was that ever shot? And if that was, how do you like react to the alien? And if you just keep like crawling past him, or
I didn't have any problem with the aliens because they didn't even notice me because I was synthetic. There was no. I mean, they're not a visual thing. They smell it, they taste it, they want it. But me, that'd be like stepping over a fire hydrant, but you don't even notice it. Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
It seems that Henriksen interpreted this question more as a what-if scenario, speaking of his character and the rationale that the aliens would leave him alone while he was down there, not so much about a lost scene that was never included and never filmed. He was safe down there. He never ran into any beasts in the dark. Bishop has spoken. Either way, this is a very entertaining and informative Q&A, well worth checking out, so if you're interested, I'll leave a link below.
Not this.
All
not
things
this.
considered, we can
Something
surmise
else.
that the
I don't even
scene
wanna say it out
simply
loud.
wasn't filmed. It wasn't necessarily cut out either, at least not from the shooting script, but when it came time to put the film together, a dark, uneventful journey through the colony service tunnel sufficed for scene 134. But who knows? Maybe it was filmed. Maybe it's submerged somewhere deep in James Cameron's aquatic lair, along with proper HD transfers of True Lies in the Abyss. Anything's possible. Unfortunately, though, I have to lean more toward the belief that this scene has only existed on the written pages of the screenplay and the film's novelization. But what do you think? Could it have been filmed? Let me know your thoughts below. And as always, I'd like to thank you very much for watching today. I really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like. And you can also subscribe for all the latest videos from Alien Theory.
Damn,
A
son.
very, very special thanks goes out to Weyland-Yutani executives, Emioric, and Lady
I
Anne.
always thought the way
Part of the
bishops
Patreon
wash their
Hive.
fingers
If you'd like to join the Hive and
seal
support
in
the channel,
pipe
check out my
was the
Patreon
perfect
page for exclusive
representation of how
posts
he
and
was programmed
contests.
to serve
In the
humans.
meantime, you can catch up with Alien
Even
Theory
when
over
being
social
sent
media.
on a
Follow
dangerous
@Alien_Theory on
assignment.
Twitter and @AlienTheoryYT on Facebook and Instagram for more.
I'll give you a like,
And
sir.
until
Nah, this stuff's cool. I like this stuff. Let me see. Aliens 3 and the AIDS Crisis. Straight into it. That's cool. That's cool. Ooh. I like this stuff.
When the stakes are high at work, your tone matters. Grammarly's advanced tone suggestions can help.
With the new film Prey just on the horizon, we'll soon be seeing the very first motion picture depiction of a predator hunt taking place in the past. This is a concept that has always intrigued fans, and it's a concept that Predator creators Jim and John Thomas had been considering ever since the second film. On their commentary track for Predator 2, recorded in the year 2004, Jim Thomas states, "It would be interesting down the line to see another take on Predator, possibly a historical piece we played around with on set of doing something historical. What would it be like in a time when you had nothing but steam engines and flintlocks and you were up against something like this? That could be fun. Plenty of stories." The seed of this idea, of course, can be found at the ending of Predator 2 after Lieutenant Harrigan defeats the City Hunter Predator and encounters a large group of Yautja on their spacecraft.
I love that
Their
name.
apparent leader, an elder
Yautja.
predator, provides Harrigan with a trophy of sorts, a weapon from hundreds of years in the past. This elder predator holds a key to what we would understand about that past and the shaping of the Yautja Code of Honor. He has been referred to by many different names. Jim and John Thomas call him the Ancient One. Creature creator John Rosengrant of Stan Winston Studios refers to him as Greyback. And NECA, who had released a figure of this predator, took on the name the Golden Angel. In 1996, a comic was published letting us in on the origins of this predator and the trophy he gives to Harrigan. Predator 1718, written by Henry Gilroy with art by Igor Kordy, originally appeared in a Dark Horse Comics special, A Decade of Dark Horse. It later became published along with the Predator Comics line and was solidified in its omnibus collection. The Golden Angel moniker is derived from this story, and the history behind the pistol is revealed. In the year 1718, a lone predator is waiting on the shores of the Guinea coast. It spots a ship coming in. On its flag bears a symbol of a skull and crossbones. These men are pirates, and a group of passengers are rowing to the shore.
Bloody
As they get
pirates!
closer, the sounds of an argument can be heard. The man speaking is Raphael Adolini, the the ship's captain, clutching a chest. What you lads done is far beyond the brigand ship's code. The killing of a priest and stealing of the sacraments is a worse kind of sin. A crewman shoots back. That's loot same as any other, Captain. The whole crew is with us in saying 'tis our property now. Adelini is not convinced. The breaking of their code of honor has cut him deep.
You're right,
It belongs to the church, and that's whom it's going to, or I'm not your captain.
Y'all so damn sensitive.
First
man.
crewman raises his rifle. The others grip their shovels, ready. If that's how it is, then, you're not our captain. It is now clear to Adelini he's dealing with mutineers.
Right? Goddamn
They advance on him
pirates.
and the
Who
treasure
the
he
fuck
holds.
cares?
Evil bastards, he shouts, and draws his pistol. The shot strikes a crewman directly in the head as he swipes a shovel at the captain. Another he kicks in the face before the dead man can hit the ground. Adelini is fast. He's precise with his firearm and physically adept, but he knows when to run. The injured crewman fires the rifle at the captain as he flees into the wooded area of the coast. The others plan for their attack. Get your cutlass after him while I fetch the others. Camouflaged within the greenery, the predator watches.
I should try Hotline
He
Miami.
waits, contemplating what he has just witnessed.
I think I'm gonna do
He
that.
sees Adelini trek his way further into the woods,
Phasmophobia,
and a lone crewman fast on his trail.
Battlefront
Both are armed
1,
with
Jedi
swords and soon
Academy,
meet atop a grassy hill.
1 and 2, right?
Adelini
Jedi
has stumbled
Outcast,
and appears exhausted.
Jedi Knight and Jedi
The crewman
Academy.
smiles to himself,
Probably
ready to slay the
Commando.
captain and retrieve the loot.
Oh,
The smile disappears.
got some games,
He lets out a
boys.
blood-curdling
Girls,
groan as his
peoples,
eyes widen with
ladies,
shock.
gentlemen.
Something has struck him. He's lifted off the ground. A large blade has pierced through his chest. He could not see his assailant,
I'll
and
do Hotline
Adelini could only barely make it out.
See how bad I
For a
am.
moment, it looked as if the trees had come to life. Looking closer, it was a spectral figure, not of this earth. A demon. It still gripped its weapon, skewering the crewman as the captain rose and swiped his sword at the figure. Die, demon, he shouted. Sparks of lightning surrounded this figure as it released its prey to the ground. It appeared in view to Adelini. He kept his sword raised and addressed this demon. Or are you beast? To his shock, it answered. A distorted voice echoed. You beast. Adelini swung his sword with all his might, barely grazing the armored plating on the creature's knee. It retrieved its own weapon from the dead body on the ground and struck back. Adelini blocked it, but the force brought him to his knees. By this time, the remaining crewmates had made their way to the shore and followed the signs of the disturbance ahead. One observed, he's fighting a golden angel.
He's fighting
Or
a
else
golden
Lord
angel.
himself.
Or else
They
Lord
briefly
himself.
watched the duel, trying to make sense of the events unfolding before them.
Or
But their
else
focus
Lord
returned to their
himself.
grave and the chest of treasure still by the captain's feet.
No matter.
Angel or devil, the treasure is ours to take back.
Who's man
enough to go now?
Go now!
A group cried out and came running in with swords ready. In a matter of no more than
Maybe
a
I'll
second,
read a comic
this golden
tonight.
angel sliced through
Oh,
two
crap,
men's
did I delete
chests.
it?
Another was armed with a pistol and came at the captain. He fired, but missed. Adelini had ducked the blast and in the same motion sliced the throat of another mutineer with his sword.
This boy taking
The
on the
fight
whole
continued.
crew.
More bodies and heads came tumbling bloodily to the ground. One of the crew was holding back, carefully observing. He gathered the discarded rifles. Back to back, the captain and the predator each held their stance. Bastards, Adelini proclaimed. The distorted voice echoed back. Bastards. It appeared all who wished them dead were defeated. There were no more to fight against, except, of course, each other. The thought quickly
He
dawned
looked
on
at it and said,
Adelini.
"You wanna
and moved
go?"
away from against the beast's back. He kept a pace ahead of it, facing it and drawing his weapon. The predator did the same. For a moment, the predator only stared at the captain. It did not make the first move. Finally, the man shouted, "Well then, come on, beast." Before either could make their move, a booming blast rung out from behind the captain. He groaned in pain. The remaining crewman had revealed himself from within the woods. Adelini fell forward into the predator, and he caught the dying man in his arms. The bullet hole was still smoking. The sword was still gripped in his hand. The crewman darted out and fired the other rifle. "That treasure is mine, demon," he shouted. He shot the rifle, grazing an unarmored portion of the creature's leg. It fell back. As quickly as he could, the crewman ran for the chest and grabbed it. "Mine," he shouted. From the hill above, he could see the ship beginning to drift away, and the crew's haste to chase after the captain had not been anchored. A shot fired from the Predator's shoulder cannon, exploding through the mutineer's back and outwards from his chest. He was sent flying off the hill, hitting the ground dead. Staring at his kill, the Predator muttered the words of Adelini once more. Bastards.
Bastards.
From behind him, the dying sounds of the captain could be heard.
I always loved that about the
coughing
Yao
and
Show.
gurgling in his final moments. Blood ran down his mouth and chest, soaking the grass a deep red. He stared up to the Predator, holding out his pistol. Not a gesture to harm, but an offering. Take it, he said, and died. His final offering, his gift to the alien for this hunt, had an engraving.
I wonder if he was Italian, right?
Raphael Adelini,
or
1715.
Italian, Spanish.
The Predator laid the captain in a makeshift grave. With him, the chest he defended with his very life. The loose piece that once hung from a necklace on the captain's neck held his attention. He examined the artifact closely. A solid gold crucifix. It glimmered in the setting sun.
That's pretty cool.
He threw it back into the captain's grave. This dangling reminder, it observed, to be not unlike the mementos it adorned on itself from past hunts. A familiar sense of honor and a code could be understood in a short time with this unusual human. He decided on a trade. The Predator pulled out his weapon, used in their battle, and unsheathed its blade. He decided to toss it into the grave as well. Take it, the distorted voice said. The sun set on the shores of the Guinea coast.
He's so damn sentimental.
Raphael Adelini's ship rocked back and forth against the protruding stones. It was slow and silent, as if manned by an invisible captain. The sky lit up a glorious gold, and its angel returned to the heavens. The Predator held on to this trophy after a hunt that seemed to forever change its understanding of human honor for nearly 300 years. After his victory against the Hunter in Los Angeles in 1997, it appeared the Elder finally found another human worthy of accepting this now ancient weapon in Harrigan. Its significance is only hinted at in the actual film, but the 1718 comic sheds some further light. There's also more to consider in the Predator 2 novelization, written by Simon Hawke, in which events play out a little differently, and in which Harrigan takes a moment to consider why he was given this gift. The Predator Code of Honor could be interpreted differently as well, since the City Hunter has a different fate from what we see in the final film. Here's what occurs in the novelization after Harrigan defeats the Hunter with its disc weapon. He froze at the sudden trilling sound coming from behind him. He turned, and like a ghost appearing from the mist, he saw another alien materialize behind him as its light-bending camouflage screen faded away. And then another one. And still another. And another. And another. He felt the disc fall from his grasp. He backed away with utter disbelief, confronted by the sight of 10 of the alien creatures all around him. He felt the bottom drop out of his stomach and his legs buckled beneath him. He sank to his knees with the sudden, horrifying realization that it was all over. There was no escape, no hope, none whatsoever. As he watched, dazed, waiting for the final blow to fall, the aliens advanced. But they ignored him and approached their wounded, dying comrade. One of the aliens looked larger and older than the others, its scaled skin a deeper, darker shade, its armor festooned with many trophies taken from countless hunts throughout the universe. As this one approached, the wounded Predator looked up and silently held out an arm in a gesture that might have been supplication, or perhaps acceptance. Bending its head backwards, the wounded Predator exposed its throat. The leader, it could only be the leader, raised his arm magisterially, holding his weapon high. The twin blades gleamed. With a lightning stroke, the blades flashed down. The severed head fell to the floor with a thud, disappearing into the swirling mist. The penalty for failure, Harrigan thought, numbly. He could only watch as the leader advanced toward him. Watch and wait for the inevitable. The leader raised its arm, but the killing stroke never came. The blades retracted, and for a long moment, the alien leader simply stood there, looking down at him. Then it reached behind itself and took out some sort of object, which it tossed to Harrigan. Purely by reflex, Harrigan caught it. He stared at it, dumbstruck. It was an ancient matchlock pistol, with a silver forestock and butt cap. Engraved in the silver was a name, an Italian script, and a date.
Well, he is Italian. Yeah.
Once Harrigan escapes the ship and assesses himself as safe for the moment, the novelization goes on to explain some of the considerations behind this pistol. Slowly, painfully, he rose to his knees and staggered to his feet, still holding the ancient matchlock pistol in his hand. He stared down at it, wondering what it was supposed to mean. What had the alien leader's gesture in giving it to him signified? An old, treasured trophy from some human taken centuries ago who proved a worthy opponent? A memento of the one that got away? Or perhaps the meaning was more literal. The presentation of an ancient, hopelessly primitive weapon, signifying, this is what you are to us. Remember.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The new film Prey is just about a week away. Its advertising is in full force, and speculations are abound as to how exactly the feral predator's hunt ties into the overall Predator history. Eagle-eyed fans have spotted a familiar-looking pistol in one of the officially released stills, theorizing it may be the Raphael Adelini pistol. Could it possibly be the very same pistol we saw at the end of Predator 2? If so, will the backstory of the 1718 comic be retconned?
This is 15.
Or is a pistol just a pistol? Comment below and share your thoughts. As always, I'd like to thank you very much for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like and be sure to subscribe for all the latest videos from the channel.
This is
a very special thanks goes out to Brandon James, Grizz4756, Ronnie Jensen, and Zeno Shadowmorph, Queen Tears of the Patreon Hive. Thank you to Gregory Ford and John Griggs, the Hive's Praetorians. And a very special thanks goes out to Lady Anne and the Ellen Ripley Tier of Excellence. And in the role of Wayland Yutani executives, Michael Cole, Nicholas Butta, and Wesley A. Weaver Jr. If you'd like to join the Hive and support the channel, check out my Patreon.
What is this? I'm gonna subscribe. These kinds
the year
of
of our
videos.
Lord 2194, the first battle to reclaim Earth is fought. General A.W. Spears had trained an army of the same alien creature that had overtaken the planet. His soldiers would exemplify the potential of the xenomorph. That's what they wanted in the first place, wasn't it? To study the alien, to control it, to weaponize the perfect organism. Spears' first battle would prove his methods were the righteous and glorious path to victory, that more funding, more specimens, and more perfect soldiers would be at his disposal after his demonstration. Earth would not be forgotten. Earth would be won back. So, how did we get here? It was 2192 when the Coast Guard vessel Dutton discovered the abandoned cargo ship, the Junket. They still called it the Coast Guard, even though the coast they were guarding is 300 or 400 miles out in space. It was a lot cheaper to abandon a ship than retrofit and refuel, especially the old-style nuclear jobs. A lot of the industrials just dumped them in decaying orbit, waiting for gravity and atmospheric burnup to solve their problems. The Coast Guard was tasked to tag these floaters and blast them before they could decay into the atmosphere. The Dutton was on a routine mission to clear floaters from entering into Earth's atmosphere, and that is when they encountered the abandoned cargo vessel. Their probe ship observed the aftermath of some horrific encounter. Dead bodies floated in the ghost ship, bloodstains all over the floor and walls, the words, "Kill us all," "Do it now," and "Please it hurts," written in blood. Acid and bullet holes surrounded the interior of the vessel. The pilot pod ejected. Data from the ship's history was copied and sent to command before the Dutton itself was destroyed by a stray xenomorph pulled in by the vacuum of the blast. With this data, Dr. Arona and the Earth government had the coordinates to the xenomorph homeworld. Bionational Corporation, however, had the missing pilot of the Junket, James Lukowski. Lukowski had a facehugger parasite attached to him. He was carrying the embryo of an alien queen under observation in Bionational's labs on Earth. That's when the dreams began. Some of the dreamers had such an intense affinity with the alien they believed the end of days to be upon them, and the only salvation was to become host to an alien parasite.
Hell no.
An obsessed cult led by televangelist Salvahay raided Bionational's labs and set the Queen free. That was the beginning of the end for Earth. A few short years and the Earth had been completely overtaken by them. The cultists are still out there, searching for other survivors and bringing them to the hives for harvesting. The Earth government's failure when it comes to the xenomorph has further origin than the grave mistakes of a competitor. The 2179 Acheron mission was seen as a disaster. All of the colonists of Hadley's Hope, almost an entire platoon of Marines, and atmospheric processor, and any chance of obtaining a specimen was lost. and the dreams came home to Earth with the few survivors. Hicks spent the next 13 years drunk, isolated, trying to forget his own failures. Newt was institutionalized, drugged daily, half in a dream world where her memories could not be trusted. It was not until she was actually face to face with Hicks all these years later that she realized he was not just some man from her dreams. He was real. She dreamed of her parents dying. She dreamed of the aliens. She dreamed of Hicks saving her. She never dreamed of Ripley.
Oh, Newt.
And Ripley, her dreams were powerful. Ripley and the rest of the crew of the Nostromo, they responded to the beacon. They made first contact.
I love this stuff.
We should have never found that ship. In his cabin, Spears laid out his uniform for the initial upcoming battle on Earth. He'd saved one dress uniform, the build cap with the gold braid and his star, the regulation black silks with his ribbons and medals, the Evershine orthoplast over the calf boots. He'd wear a belt with his 2 antique revolvers and the uniform's dress sword. Strictly speaking, of course, it wasn't SOP to wear dress blacks and ceremonial weaponry into a combat sit, but while he was going to be on scene, he wasn't going to lead the troops into battle. No, he would command from the rear this first time. He was too valuable to risk himself in this foray. He would be the most valuable man on the field, not simply because he was the only man on the field, but because if something happened to him, the war was over. Only he and the Queen could command these soldiers, and he could hardly trust her to continue the fight if he were gone. No, he would stand back this once, until he had more troops, more humans to help him. He was, after all, the commanding general of the Colonial Marines now, indeed, commander-in-chief of all military forces. And why not? Once he brought back records of his success, once he showed whoever was left how the job had to be done, who would dare deny him the rank? And if anybody could be that stupid, a wave of his hand could remove that obstacle. Sick 'em, boys. Spears smiled. It was all going so well. Aside from a couple of minor glitches back at third base, nothing the historians would linger over unduly. Everything had run as smoothly as lube on glass. It was only a matter of days now. All the years of preparation were about to pay off. He rehung the uniform, put the sword and boots away. He had decided to land in South Africa, a northeastern section of which was once called the Natal Province. In the late 1800s, the area had been ruled by a native named Kachawa, who had commanded a large army of warriors known as the Zulu. They were fierce fighters, the Zulu, and there had been a lot of them, but even so, they'd been no match for the technologically advanced British when it came to war. In one famous battle, a small unit of British soldiers withstood an assault against a vastly superior number of Zulu for some days due to their better weapons, tactics, and training. Spears related to that. A tiny force, well-directed and focused, stopped an entire army. All things being equal, it was the commanders who decided the battles. The aliens were fierce, savage, hard as iron, but they fought like ants. They had not learned the arts of war as had men, and few if any men knew those arts as well as Spears did. Give me a lever and a place to stand and I will move the galaxy, Spears thought. He had his place. His lever flew with the ship with him. He was so full of anticipation he could hardly breathe. Only a week away now, Earth loomed large ahead of Spears. He tried to settle down with a history of gladiatorial war, but the text did not hold his interest. Over the years he'd forced himself to learn patience, to wait, but it was hard now that he saw the goal was so tantalizingly close. Here was the light at the end of the tunnel, the finish line for a race run long and hard. He found himself staring at the image on the viewer, and when that wasn't enough, lifting the outer armor and looking directly at the distant planet through the thick, hardened glass. Don't worry, I'm coming to save you. I'll be there soon. A few more days and your liberation will begin.
What is
Hicks
this?
and Newt, stowed away on the MacArthur, had no way to stop the general on his warpath. He had full control of the ship, and the pair of survivors were just there along for the ride. This left much time for Newt to reflect. Time passed slowly in the darkness. I felt so lost, so alone. Hicks spent the first day searching for a way to seize control of the ship, but his knowledge of computer technology didn't extend to countermanding a navigational mainframe. For a time, we were worried that Spears would find a way to bypass the ship's environmental control.
I love lore.
Sequestered in his alloy cocoon, Spears ignored us, lost in his visions of war and glory. And the stimulants he relied on fed his paranoia. Finally, logic exhausted, Hicks reverted to raw, frustrated instinct. That the cockpit was designed to withstand explosive decompression meant nothing to him. Hicks's fury no longer had anything to do with mutiny. It was about hatred, vengeance. The ship's controls were locked, but the comm was operational. Hicks wasn't going to be making any outgoing calls. He didn't want to take the chance somebody might overhear them. So far, he didn't think anybody knew they were here, and not that he had anybody left to call anyhow. But somebody knew they were here. The board cheeped with an incoming, complete with visual. Bueller. I stared at his face, his eyes so carefully designed to create the illusion of humanity, and then I realized the scientists had failed. Bueller was no more human than those alien things. He was better. He didn't look any worse for wear on the screen. Newt couldn't tell where he was. There was some bland, office-like background behind where he sat, behind a desk. Hello, Newt. I've got this channel in a security pipe, computer-guided. Nobody can overhear us. If you want to talk. If you don't, I understand. Mitch, I'm here, Newt said. I'm so glad to see you're okay, he said. There was a muted explosion in the background. What was that? Grenade, probably. The alien drones left here are running amok. Spears took the queen. I think they can sense that, somehow. Oh, God. There's nothing to be done about it, Newt. I'm here and you're there. If there is a god, he or she or it has a warped sense of humor, from what I've seen. I've been trying to understand what happened between us, trying to make sense of our passion. But there is no sense to it. It just happened. Random, unpredictable, like life. There is only one perfect truth, Newt. I love you. I will always love you. I hope you will one day forgive me. The picture vanished before she could reply. Mitch. Carrier's down, Hicks said. He stared at the blank spot where the feed had been. He wouldn't look at her. If she'd been him, she wouldn't have looked at her either. She felt like shit. She cried for what seemed like a long time. She thought about Mitch's final words. Forgive you. He protected me, held me, loved me, and I left him to the alien. He would be alone, forever. That was my perfect truth. Maybe when we get wherever we're going, we can make Spears pay for this, Hicks tried. She looked at him. Whatever it cost him won't be enough, she said. Her voice was dead, calm, flat, unemotional. Maybe not, Hicks said, but it'll make me feel better. After that, neither of them had anything to say for a long time. Their silence turned to further desperate planning. They knew they had to get off this ship. Hicks, what are we going to do? Right now, nothing. We don't have any armament, nothing to shoot with except the hand weapons, which won't do us any good. Oh yeah, we could go EVA. We got a few suits, but we're accelerating, and there's no way we can make up the relative speed. The squirt guns in the suits won't push us hard enough. That's not to mention what would happen if Spears decided it was time to make the leap into Einstein while we're outside dicking around. Newt blinked. He couldn't tell if she was really interested in this or not, but he pretended she was. See, the drive fields pretty much follow the contours of the ship generating them. If we were hugging the hull, maybe we'd go along for the ride, but anything that stuck out, an arm or a leg maybe, would be left behind. Newt blinked again, didn't speak. The field is better than any armor we've ever devised, you know. Nothing gets through it, so we couldn't get back inside. So even if we didn't get razored in half, there would be, outside of the ship, for however long we were in the warp. Months, a year, maybe longer. Maybe that wouldn't be so bad, Newt said. Maybe, if you don't mind running out of oxy and choking to death on your own CO2. Then when the ship did drop back into end space and eventually started to decelerate, our bodies would zip on ahead and probably spend eternity tumbling through space. There are better ways to shuffle off. And worse, Newt said. Yeah, there are worse. So where does that leave us? Waiting. We can wreck this ship. Spears doesn't want that, not with his little army of monsters on board. Maybe we can threaten him, tear out the computers, get control somehow, ram the son of a bitch. Or maybe once we come out of the warp and start to slow down, we can get a chance at something. Such as? Hell, I don't know, Newt. I don't have all the answers. You got here at the same time I did. Maybe if you weren't feeling so fucking sorry for yourself, you might come up with something. She stared at him. You knew Mitch was an android. Before I ever met him, you knew. You didn't tell me. Hicks glared back at her. Yeah, and I tried to tell you to stay away from him, didn't I? You weren't having any of it. You can't blame this on me, kid. I did everything but lock you in your quarters to keep you away from Bueller. It never occurred to you I might know what the hell I was talking about, didn't it? Old chemhead, 20-year-old grunt, what the fuck could I know about anything, right? Newt looked down, said, You're right. It wasn't your fault. I'm sorry. He felt his anger evaporate. Jesus, big tough Marine beating up on the little girl. It's okay. I'm sorry too. That was all either of them had to say for the moment. Before they could pick up the thread of the conversation again, the ship's warning buzzer sounded. Shit. That's the 10-minute signal. We're going into warp. Warp space does ugly things to your mind if you stay awake. I did half an hour once, part of a test group. It makes your worst nightmares seem tame. Newt shuddered, and he knew how she felt. They had both dreamed about the aliens too many times, and those visions were horrible enough. Hicks, are we screwed? Yeah. He's dropped the pressure door down the hall. Fucked the controls up. Must have known we were coming all along. Can't we get outside the ship? Maybe. I could probably manage to unseal the hatch we came in if I tried hard enough, but the minute we step outside, he'll shake us off like fleas from a steel dog. We'd never find another way in time. Can we blow the ship up? He looked at her. He understood the thought. If they're gonna die anyhow, might as well take the bastard with them. I don't think so. This is a military-grade vessel. I could set off what grenades we have, but it wouldn't do much more than ruin the aft section, if that. These ships are built in segments, airtight compartments. We could take out some inner walls, but segments are armored like the hull. The drives are amidships and out of reach. Even if we did cripple it, we'd die as a result. So that's it. Well, we might get to the oxy stores buried in the walls here and bypass his control. Might get air enough to last a couple more days. But not to get to Earth. That would be my guess. Sorry, kid. We tried. We lost. That's the way it goes sometimes. Nothing we can do. Not unless we can convince Spears to turn over the keys to the escape pod. Maybe if we said please. Hicks thought about that for a second. I've got a better idea. Maybe if we said, or else. Hello, General Spears, said the voice from the comm. It was on the suit radio op-chan, right where he thought it would be. Spears leaned back in his forum chair and nodded at the comm. I was expecting you to call, son. Nice try, but you lose. Maybe, maybe not. Newt and I, we were hoping you could see your way through to cutting us loose. What would be the point, Marine? It's a long walk home. You'd never make it. We could if we had one of the 2 escape pods. Spears grinned. That you might, but I'd have to give you one, and I don't really see that as a possibility. Nothing for me to gain. We'll trade you for it. Son, you don't have anything to trade. How about 9 linked M40 grenades, all set to go off at once? So you blow out the ass of the vessel and kill yourselves. It won't even dent the armor midships. Nice try, but you ought to know better. Oh, I didn't mean the grenades we had here, General. Spears leaned forward. What are you talking about? Well, Newt and I, we figured you were pretty good when we flew up here, given our experiences so far. We had to bet there was a good chance you'd take us out. Good bet. Yeah, well, you're a general, but we figured what the hell, if we died, we could have the last laugh. Keep talking. He had a feeling he knew where this was going, and it sent a chill through him. So before we left, I rigged a little explosive in the MacArthur, kind of a going-away gift, you know? With a timer. We gave ourselves plenty of time to get here and beat you. Plenty of time. Got an hour or so left. You're bluffing. I can see how you might think so, but we aren't. And can you take the chance? If we did wire the ship, your tame monsters get an e-ticket ride to nowhere in about 58 minutes. Your command general. Adios forever. Spears stared at the comm. Hicks was bluffing. He was pretty sure, but if he wasn't... Damn. Could he take the chance? Now, if you want to trade, here's the deal. You cut one of those pods loose within the next 2 minutes. That way you don't have time to go and play with it. Newt and I, we leave the ship, rendezvous with the pod, and radio you the location of the bombs. You can get to the ship and deactivate them in the other pod easy enough, with 20 minutes to spare. Assuming I believe you and do this, Spears said, what's to stop me from blasting you in the pod into atomic dust with my ship's guns the second you radio me the location? Your word that you won't. Spears grinned wider. My word. You're a man of honor, aren't you, General? Of course, son. Spears chewed at his thumbnail. He couldn't take the chance that Hicks was telling the truth, not with his army at risk. All right, Marine. You have a deal. Newt grinned at Hicks. He bought it. We ain't home free yet, he said, but he grinned back at her. He'll probably plan on taking us out with the ship's guns as soon as we're in the pod. What about his honor? Are you kidding? He's a sociopath. He's got as much honor as a spider. So how do we stop him from shooting us? I have an idea. If we're fast and lucky, it'll work. If not, we're no worse off than when we were before. I'm with you all the way, she said. It's not like I've got another engagement or anything. Once they're in the escape pod, a small ship capable of weeks of cramped flight, it wasn't 20 seconds until the comm lit with the incoming call. All right, where are the bombs? Hicks was busy putting the drive system online. He powered up the small engines, activated life support. Strap in, he ordered Newt. She obeyed. Where are we going? There's nowhere to hide out here. Yes, there is. Watch. He tapped a control and the little ship moved forward. Hicks, I want the location of the bombs now or I will cancel our agreement and blast you. Too late, Hicks said as the pod moved almost back to where it had been launched from the ship. What good does this... His field of fire covers a full sphere, but there aren't any guns directly under the pod launch bay, and he can't elevate or depress any of them enough, so he can't accidentally shoot himself. Or us, in this case. The tiny ship rode a few meters away from the larger vessel. Can we stay here? Not for long. He'll start playing with the drives and we'll lose contact, but he can't wait. The clock is running. Hold on. Hicks touched the comm. General, you want to go to the power control box for the aliens' tanks. The main cable from the generator to the control cabin, where it leaves the forward circuit breaker and the G-drive housing, next to the gyro switch complex. Damn, I thought you were bluffing. No, but I lied. You've got about 10 minutes to pull the charges, not 20. If you dick around trying to shake us so you can chew us up with the ship's guns, you might not have time to save the MacArthur. There was a moment of silence. Then, you would have made a good line officer, son. You got more guts than a slaughterhouse. Thank you, General. All right, you can tell your grandchildren you went up against me and survived. That'll mean something someday. To Newt, Hicks said, hang on. With that, he turned the pod so it faced the ship and 2 clicks behind them and hit the thrusters full power. The little ship shot out like a minnow darting from under a shark. The G-force was strong enough to press them back into their seats. I don't think you'll shoot in this direction, Hicks managed to say through stretched lips. You won't want to hit the MacArthur. I hope. I hope you're right, Newt said. This time, Hicks was. The escape pod shot past the following ship so fast it was only a blur on their scopes. Spears shook his head as he raised from his squat next to the drive housing. There weren't any bombs connected to the gyro switch complex. Nor had there been any in the other locations. The son of a bitch had bluffed him. He felt a moment of irritation, an urge to wrap his hands around the Marine's throat and throttle him, but it passed. It didn't matter. So 1 Marine and 1 civilian had saved their skins by lying to him. So what? After he demonstrated how he would liberate Earth, who would believe such a story, assuming the tricky bastard Marine and his woman were foolish enough to even try to spread it around? Of course, there might be bombs hidden somewhere on the MacArthur, but Spears didn't believe it for a second. No, he'd been foxed. Once more, he offered a 2-fingered salute to Hicks. Good Marine, that one. In the tiny cabin of the pod, Hicks blew out a big breath. Did we make it? Newt asked. Yeah, we did. He's outside our radar range, but he must have gone back to the cargo to check it out. I'd love to see his face when he realizes there weren't any explosives rigged. I'll pass on seeing his face again, thank you. Hicks laughed, then frowned. He got away, though. He beat us and got away. I wanted to get him in my sights. You ought to be glad he didn't get us in his sights. Where are we, by the way, and where are we going? We'll be inside Luna's orbit in another couple of days, if the guidance computer on this piece of junk can be trusted. I'm getting some signals from the region, too faint to hear much. Could be automatic from Earth, or something from the colony on the moon, if it's still there. Gateway station in L5 orbit, maybe. I've got the scanner set to pick up the strongest input and home in on it. You did real good back there, Hicks. You're a lot smarter than you let on. You think so? Yeah, and a whole lot smarter than you look. She smiled and he returned it. He fucking hated losing to Spears, but she was right. It was better to be alive to fight another day, and at least they had that much. And they found themselves a little bit of luck in the L5 orbit in the days to come. Approaching vessel, identify yourself. The call came. This is Gateway Station calling. Hicks smiled at Newt. This is the escape pod from the Colonial Marine vessel MacArthur, he said. 2 passengers aboard, uncontaminated. Repeat, no alien contamination of the ship. Pod MacArthur, you are in the grid. We'll fly you in Lazy 8s until the decontamination team can rendezvous with your vessel. Estimate arrival time in 9 hours. Copy, Gateway. We'll be there. Newt lifted an eyebrow. They have to check us out to make sure we aren't carrying any toothy little surprises, he said. That means the station is clean. Gateway is pretty big, half the size of the old Luna 1 colony. 15,000 people before the trouble on Earth. Probably built a few more modules since then to make room for escapees. We'll be quarantined until they are damn sure we aren't infected. That'd be my guess. Run us through a CAT scanner or some Fluoroproj and we'll get home free. I can't believe it, she said. We're finally going to get somewhere safe. Maybe, he thought, but looking at her face, he didn't say it. He only nodded. Spears, back on the MacArthur, remained focused on his mission, his affinity with the xenomorph only growing. I watched them disappear into darkness. I let them go. I wanted them to go. The alien is the only one I can trust. Their loyalty transcends human treachery. Together we will form a new world. I will lead man and alien alike toward a new glory, a new beginning, a better tomorrow. Spears brought the Queen out of deep sleep first, still securely in her cage, of course. She could see him through the clear walls, and he flicked the cigar lighter over and over, watching the little flame reflect off the heavy clear steel plastic. Oh yes, I know you remember me. The time has come for your children to go forth and do battle. You can lay 1,000,000 eggs if you do as you're told, if my soldiers obey me as they should. Do you understand? He put his hand on the plastic. The Queen turned her head slightly, but did not move. She understood. He was sure of it. Not the words, maybe, but she was smart enough. He knew that. The drones weren't too swift, their wattage was real dim, but the Queen wasn't stupid. She knew him, and she remembered him, and he was certain he'd put the fear of God, in the form of Spears, into her. It would go all the way it was supposed to go, and soon the moment would be upon them. Some, of course, will perish in the terrible struggle ahead. I know that. I respect it. But in the end, we will prevail. I can hear the adulation of the masses as I rescue them from their misery. I can hear their cries of joy as I inspire them to rebuild our world. I can feel their love, their admiration, their fear. We were on the cusp of a truly historic moment, when the tide would turn against the human disorganization of the past. My boys would make us proud again. It would take most of Spears' remaining fuel to land the carrier, but he had the APC for his own return to orbit. The reason he had brought the MacArthur was that it could stand a dunking in atmosphere in normal gravity. He expected to take heavy casualties despite the training and arms his men had, but that was to be expected, and the ship would have to stay behind. It was unimportant. The cameras were on, the automatic director picking the most dramatic shots according to the program Spears had installed. Low angles on him mostly, with plenty of background stuff he could cut together later. Fully dressed, Spears moved to the staging area where the troops, numbers glowing dimly on their heads, stood quietly, awaiting their orders. Slime dripped from their mouths, and there was a slight clatter of hard chitin when they moved or touched each other. "Stand by, men," Spears said. He went to strap in for the final approach. Weather radar said there was a storm front moving across the landing area. Damn. He had hoped for a sunny afternoon. Well, the cameras could adjust for the lighting. He could clean it up when he edited it. Besides, a little lightning and rain would only add to the drama. This was all background stuff anyway. Once they were down, he would have his computers send out a live broadcast of the battle. The fortunate watchers could say they had seen it as it actually happened. The ramp lowered and Spears walked out into the rain. In the rainy distance, Spears saw shadowy forms approaching. He drew his sword and pointed at them. First squad, front and center. Second squad, fan out and cover the flanks. The time has come to prove yourselves, to show your commanding officer all you have learned. We must give no quarter. The others are your enemies. They must be destroyed. Attack. He had decided to hold off on giving his men weapons until he saw how his close combat tactics worked. Number 15 moved close to Spears, turned its head, and looked at him. "Go get them, trooper," Spears said. He waved the shining stainless steel blade. Number 15 stood motionless, then its mouth gaped and jelly-like drool dripped from its open jaws. "I gave you a direct order," Spears said. Number 15's inner jaw oozed past the outer teeth. "I'll not have disobedience." Spears swung the sword. It was heavy, made of good surgical stainless, with an edge sharp enough to shave with. The blade caught the alien's thin neck. The strike was perfect, slicing between the vertebrae into the thinner and more flexible material over the spine. Number 15's head toppled off and fell. Enough acid clung to Spears' sword blade so that it immediately began to smoke. The metal dissolved and ran under the pattering of the rain. Spears stared at the ruined blade and the smoking of his hand. God damn it. He dropped the sword and pulled out his flame unit. He fired at the corpse of number 15. The old guard must be overthrown. They must be defeated. Half a dozen of the troops came out of the ship behind Spears, the Queen along with them. She paused in front of Spears, looking down from her 4-meter height. He made her aware of the power of fire held in his grasp. That's right, bitch. I'm the man with the fire. I cook the babies. Fuck with me and we'll scramble some eggs, you bet. Like dogs, the aliens could not really smile, but the Queen seemed to, the way her jaws moved. She loomed closer to Spears. Hand still on the trigger, the realization of the Queen's will dawned upon the general. My God, you used me. You wanted your precious children back, and I brought them to you. Then she grabbed Spears and lifted him, using her larger arms. With a quick move, the Queen's inner jaw pierced into Spears' skull, nearly taking his head off.
Jeez.
They tracked Spears' ship back to Earth, and there was nothing. His revolution ended before it had a chance to begin. The alien wouldn't allow it. Gateway Station was all humanity had left. Civilian technicians monitored the last sporadic signals from Earth in a terrible death watch. The platform had become an oasis for the few survivors capable of finding transport. The alien had reduced us to voyeurs, cataloging Earth's final hours from the safety of space. And then I saw her. She was still alive. On Gateway Station, Newt and Hicks cleaned up and went to make their report to the powers that were. A lot had happened since they'd left Earth, nearly all of it bad, so the medic leading them to the debriefing station had said. After the debriefing, Newt met Hicks in a conference room nobody seemed to be using. There were view screens on the wall. There she saw the little girl on Earth. She was with her uncle. Still somehow they survived on the overtaken planet. The man spoke, hoping his transmission would reach someone. The city's gone. Most of those left alive have been subjugated to the alien's will. You can feel it, some sort of subliminal impulse that draws you to them. A feel of warmth, belonging. The creatures are building some kind of a nest, spreading it across the city, into the streets and underground. A repository for their young, or something more? It reminds me of another time, years ago, somebody said from the doorway. Somebody Newt recognized. Another little girl lost on a world swarming with the alien bastards. Ripley, Newt said. You're Ripley. The woman gave them a brief, small smile. That's right. You're supposed to be dead, Newt said. From what I hear, so are you two. The universe is just full of surprises, isn't it? I'm tired of watching. It's time to finish it. In this series, I'm recounting the Earth War as depicted in the Aliens comic series. The accounts are explored as originally published despite certain names, locations, and other events having been altered over time. For more on the Earth War, you can check out the accounts of the Earth War playlist on the end screen.
That's
Stay
so
tuned for
cool.
the latest videos. As always, I'd like to thank you very much for
That was
watching.
great.
I really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this
That was really good, I think. Yeah, I think. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you stayed, thank you. If you didn't, maybe you'll come back. But yeah, it's time for me to go. Oh, I used to have an outro. Bear in the Big Blue House. You know, the goodbye song. Goodbye, goodbye, good friends, goodbye. Maybe I'll bring